We were watching right up to the end, and then the next season started in the new year, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I'm going live, by the way. I'm gonna send out links and stuff.
Okay. All right, while you're doing that, I'm gonna have a quick stretch.
All right, buddy. All right, I'm ready. Oh, what's up, buddy? Are you in the chat already? You're in there early, man. Early bird gets the worm. Yeah, man, I've been alright. How you been? Still recovering a little bit from a chest infection, so my voice is a little bit congested, but I'm okay. You put the kids to bed. Nice.
All right.
All right.
Just ready to go.
Yeah, man. Enjoy your beers, bully. Enjoy the games too. Yeah, it's good to be doing good.
Got Audacity up.
I quit smoking as well, bully. I completely cold turkeyed on nicotine. Oh, Audacity, yeah, one sec. I'm only tooting a bit of weed. I'm not tooting nicotine anymore. You vapes. I'm ready, by the way. Say when you want me to start the Audacity.
All right, go ahead and start it now. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the KCM. Just made my way back from Korea in the round of 4 of SSL. Really looking forward to some great games here today as we hop into week number 7. Bring up that lineup. Speed, Light, Royal, Best, Stork, Bisu, Action, Queen, Jaedong, and shouldn't, after going and watching the ASL, and now I'm really getting the sensation, the feeling that in KCM we get way more consistently good games out of this tournament.
Yeah. No, I feel I've always said that, haven't I, to you behind closed doors at least. Maybe I can't remember if I've ever said that on air or not, but I've always felt like KCM does bring a higher consistency of bang for your buck, if you will. I don't know what that is exactly, what kind of formula. I don't know if that's like a pressure thing where the psychological aspect of the game is making players crumble and they can't execute their plans or what have you, or they vastly underestimate how much planning they actually need to make and whatnot. I don't know what is going on there, but it does seem to be the case.
Yeah, it could be the pressures of playing 1 versus 1, and especially on stage. It could also be the hive mind aspect of KCM, where you've got 2 other players who are helping you to make a decision about what kind of build you want to go for,
right,
against a specific player. And look at this. What is this barracks doing down below the minerals in the natural from Royal?
We saw something similar to this, didn't we, in a Terran versus Terran match recently in the SSL. Seems like Terrans have been a little bit more sneaky as of late, with especially on this map. It seems like they've been liking hiding the barracks behind this mineral patch for some reason. I guess as a small early mind game. Maybe it's just safer to do it that way rather than putting it out on the map further. I don't know.
I was expecting a gas to follow this up. Without the wall, it becomes pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
But he's actually going to go 1 Rax fast expand. Maybe he's hiding this so that if Queen scouts him, he's going to kind of freak out and wonder where the barracks are at. Maybe he's going to think it's a BBS in the middle of the map or something. What the heck? Okay, a bunker going to be placed at another kind of awkward location.
Yeah.
This is not really covering the barracks, and yeah, it's pretty far back compared to a regular bunker, don't you think?
Yeah, he's going to have to SCV block the ramp, or these links might actually do a little bit of a run around. They won't actually necessarily kill the bunker, obviously, but yeah, they could maybe get behind the minerals and up the ramp if he doesn't block perfectly. So a little bit of an awkward moment. Might have to lift the barracks as well. So only 2 Marines in the bunker, but I think the 2 Marines in the bunker seems like it might be enough to ward Queen away, although you might want to try and snipe this SCV building the CC if you can.
It's going to rotate around, try to run up into the main base, it looks like. 3 more Lings rotating as well, and he's really getting ready to do this run by.
Yeah.
SCVs may be targeted. The blocking looks good so far. Oh, and he's going to land the barracks as well. Okay, that really shuts things down. No point trying to run by now, so Queen will back away. So Queen opted for a pretty early pool. Did you see if it was over pool or 9 pool?
I didn't see the exact timing of that, no.
So I'm going to assume that it was an over pool. 9 pool is pretty committed, and not a lot of Zerg players are doing that recently. We did see the hatchery go down at a pretty reasonable time, so I don't think it was a gas before hatchery either.
Right.
And so this is most likely going to transition into a pretty normal game with Queen in a slight disadvantage. Royal has the lead with that 1 Rax FE, even though he had to build the bunker. He's going to be feeling good in this position.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how far ahead he would be, but it does seem like he's going to have a little bit of an edge, getting away with the early build, and the 6 Lings basically doing nothing here, not even sniping the building SCV. So, yeah, not really ideal situation for Queen, to say the least. But he's got a healthy enough economy. Certainly, if this was in the hands of Sulky, we wouldn't be counting him in much of a disadvantage at all. But I guess he hasn't got the same kind of finesse and consistency as someone like Sulky, so we get a little bit nervous for players like Queen when they start to get behind against Terrans.
Royal is a scary one as well.
Yeah.
He's going to be moving out just slightly with those Marines. I'm not sure what the plan was there. It feels like he wanted to force out a few more links, but he didn't move very far. A lot of times you'll see the Terran player reveal the move out to the Overlord that's just over top of his cliff, start to move out, and then rotate around and, you know, come back to the natural on a path that's not in vision of the Overlords. And in that way, you can really scare the Zerg player into making a bunch of lings. But now he's going to move out with the medics just at a slightly later time. This is a big threat of a sunken bust. We've only got one sunken being built, and he's holding back his larva. He's going to start a bunch of mutas, but they're not going to be ready in time. He starts a second sunken. Did he start one or no? He sends it back. Uh-oh, this could be bad. Queen might just die.
Yeah, he's got some units on the way, obviously, but they're not here right this second to help him, so tiny window of vulnerability may be exploited. He's trying to see if he can get on the periphery and just snipe the Sunken down about the Lings, getting a good surround. He does manage to clear those up, and now the Sunken will fall as well. With the two bats coming in, even though the mutas will eventually clean this up, enough drones may die that it might just be GG here. He does manage to get both of the snipes on the fire bats, though, chasing after the train of drones. Puts a lot of damage onto one mutalisk as well. Finally gets the catch on that. Only 4 mutas now in this stack. Needs to get another muta out here so we can start one-shotting these Marines. So for the time being, these Marines will start to rain down fire upon this hatchery. And I might get the drone train again. And one drone already going down. Yet again, another drone going to die. Beautiful drill maybe to help clean this up. But honestly, this is way too much damage for Queen to sustain now. So many mutas going down, even though the Marines are going to fall.
Yeah, that was very well done with the drone pull. Unfortunate that Royal moved into that position, because he could have straight up won that game if he stands on top of the eggs and just doesn't let, you know, more mutas pop without being punished, and prevent the drones from getting back to the mineral patches. It's spiraling out of control already, but it would have been even worse had Queen not got that pretty nice drill, forcing some of the Marines to even hop over top of the mineral patches during that. But as things settle down, Royal is just going to sit behind his turrets, confident in his lead, and go directly into Science Vessel. And it's the perfect option to go for now. You know that your opponent wants to do damage. Oh, look at that Evolution Chamber. Queen going to be going for kind of a crazy Zerg approach.
Yeah, that's for sure. But what about this third base? I mean, it's not going to be easy to secure and maintain for Queen, so getting enough gas online to support those Ultralisks might be very tricky in this map, I think. So I don't know, like I'm still a little bit worried for him. The supplies kind of give you the impression that he's in a much better position than he maybe is in. But yeah, I'm not sure how this is going to pan out. I have a little bit of a nerves for Queen going forward, though, because I just don't see how he's going to keep hold of the extra gas to support these Ultralisks later on.
That third base is always a problem on this map. And where is he going to even try to take it? It seems like top right will be snagged, but yeah, this is one of the hardest maps to hold that third base. There's 2 different entrances to that. And Royal has all the tools necessary to break any base out on the map. As soon as he finds out about it and realizes that Queen's making this transition, he's going to immediately put the pressure back on. He's only sitting back at home because he's waiting for a potential big counterattack from Queen after taking all that damage to try and just win the game outright.
Yeah. Seems like Queen is trying to bait Royal around a little bit to see if he can get some damage down into the main. Like he's picking away at this depot and forcing Royal to come and save it so he can swing back into the Terran production line, take out a few turrets, and maybe get on top of the racks a little bit. And maybe if he can get some good micro trades with those skirmishes, he would eventually whittle down that force enough to be in a much more, you know, manageable position in the mid game going forward. But it seems like Royals noticed that and, you know, stopped falling into that trap over and over again. So finally just calling his bluff and not taking too much damage there. But for a moment I thought Queen was going to get in to the main base a bit more and open up the position. Luckily Royal wasn't too foolish about that.
Those science vessels are on the way now, double upgrades as well. Royal gonna react to the mutas flying in, but he's seen the base up in top right. And he's even gonna save this turret. Wow, great repair there from Royal, keeping that alive. So frustrating as a Zerg player when you're You're looking for anything, any sort of damage,
Yeah.
and the Terran is just responding in such a perfect manner, repairing a turret like that. You can't even open up that one position that you were looking for.
Yeah, I mean, it does push you to your limits as a Zerg to like try and create opportunities when there's none to be had naturally. So it kind of forces you to really like think creatively to open up the Terran's position or try and force him out of position. So then, you know, do a bit of a tempo swing somehow, some way. But seems like Queen is still just going to try and do a little bit of battering ram action on this northern flank in the main base. See if he can get down the kill on this academy. Does look like he's going to get the academy at the very least, and I'll put more pressure on the radiate. Does come down. It's taken him a long time to split up that radiated muta. That's a long time indeed. So much damage done onto the rest of that stack, and it's all bruised up and softened. So now Royal's going to feel extremely confident marching across the center of the board right now, just threatening a sunken bust. There's no lurkers, I don't think, to hold this. This could be just lights out for Queen.
It looked like Queen was continuing to build mutas in the hopes that he could put together a Ling muta defense, but look at how soft these mutas are after all that damage from the irradiates. I don't think that he can stop this force breaking in through his natural or going up to the top right. You know, this could actually leave an opportunity for Queen. If Royal tries to break into the natural with the 3 sunkens there and loses his entire force, then Queen's right back in this, but I don't think that Royal will be foolish enough to take that fight. He's sending another group up towards top right. That group may be getting sandwiched by a bunch of Lings. Let's see if he can get the kill on this. This is a pretty good engagement for Queen, and diving in with the mutas as well. He will clean up the majority of this. However, I don't think he has what it takes to hold off the next wave, which is coming down, or coming up from the south. Yeah. And plus we have these vessels. Oh man, just it's so tough right now for Queen.
I mean, and yeah, the 2 vessels have a radiate in just a second here as well. So another 2 radiates available to Royal here, as well as such a strong stack of Marine infantry force. There's the first to radiate, devastating the remainder of that mutalisk flock. There's only like 3 left now, so can't really do anything. Queen's going to lose this base, more or less guaranteed, and that's what we were talking about earlier. How is he going to hold on to this third gas to support these Ultralisks? He's got his Ultralisks out at 12 minutes, but now he's not got no third gas. Exactly what we were talking about saying. GG.
There it is. Royal takes down Queen to start things off. An interesting opener from Royal. And it seemed like Queen was expecting some sort of 8 racks, going for that overpool and building so many Lings. How many did he build? 8? That's a pretty heavy commitment in the early game, and it really didn't pay off for him.
Well, I thought he was at least going to kill the building SCV on the CC when it was like dipping to like the bottom left or bottom right on the build cycle.
Right.
But didn't even try and go for that for the compensation. I was a little bit surprised.
Yeah, things really spiraled out of control from that point on. And now we're going to be jumping into a TVP, guys. Game number 2, it's coming right up. All right.
Yeah. That game went more or less how I thought it would.
Feels like how opening with a 9 pool or over pool goes if you don't get any damage.
Yeah. Just
like, how are you gonna hold?
Just, I feel like Zergs need to mix it up a little bit more. Like, if you're gonna sometimes 9 pool, sometimes over pool, like once in a while, throw in the 4 pool. Why not? I'm just saying.
도재욱 선수 몬티올 좋은데요? 야, 이것도 너무 예, 이것도 너무 기대되는 매치업이네요. 야, 몬티올이 진짜 개념이 진짜 중요한 맵이거든요. 쉽게 확인하시 오히려 좀 더 좋을 거예요. 사실 왜냐면 항상 통나무를 어깨 오히려 좀 단보험 결승에 달려가고 있습니다. 경기인데 도재욱 선수가 그 지난번에도 이 몬티올에서 조일장 선수를 2세트에서 맞상대를 했는데 느꼈던 게 확실히 이 관록이 있어서 그런지.
Okay, game number 2, Royal versus Best on Deja Vu. You got Best down here in the bottom right. Royal in the top left. Cross map. We're going to see Nexus first.
I mean, you could see anything on this map. It's hard to say, you know, like we could see some craziness or some very greedy play. The world is your oyster on this map in terms of the range of builds that you have access to. Although that equally you have to consider the range of play that will be available to your opponent as well. They might be doing some very cheesy shenanigans in the early games, like a proxy factory floated into your main base and what have you.
I haven't seen that yet on Deja Vu, but I guess it makes sense. There's a lot of space to the north of Best. Oh, this is Monty Hall. Oh my gosh. I apologize. I was trying to figure out which map this was just by looking at the mini-map, but...
To be fair, I didn't even correct you and say what the name was. I just started describing Monty Hall. So yeah, also my fault for not correcting you on the name right away.
Alright, so Monty Hall, that completely changes everything. Royal gonna go ahead with a pretty quick gas. Gas on 11. He's going to have a very fast factory, but definitely can start to float that out and try to figure out where Best is taking this Nexus first.
Right.
Now, and he might be able to punish this.
Yeah, I imagine he can potentially punish this. I don't know if he will commit to that or not, but what I'm curious about is if he'll do some kind of like forward factory. Because we sometimes see these Terran players like to hop over their SCVs into one of these lanes, sometimes the top lane, and just get a quick factory going and see if they can squeeze that in by drilling it over the mineral line. And against the 12 Nexus, there might be a chance that he can maybe get some counter to do to this 12 Nexus and get some damage done to Best here, especially if Best is feeling a little bit more safe than usual with the semi-island setup.
Trying to hop over with the probe. He's going to be able to get this. Needs more money. Doesn't have enough right now to build this again, so he's going to back off for now. Both Terran and Protoss can do this little trick, guys. The where you build a building and then try to hop over the mineral patch. Usually it'll be with a supply depot for the Terran. You just keep resetting the the SCV. He's really trying here. Hopefully the SCV will float to the south, and then he'll be able to cancel and get off of it.
Guys, it's like it's like a very hard time. Casino, right? Like you never know quite where it's gonna go. Maybe it'll eventually. Yeah, he gets. Oh no! Oh, he gets in.
I think he stopped spam clicking for a second, and it almost went back.
That's exactly what happened.
Royal gets in finally. He's going to see the Nexus first in a moment. Oh, he was thinking about building something in here, I think.
Yeah.
He saw the opening and he went back.
Well,
but the Zealot, oh my gosh. Really? Royal didn't scout the base?
That's rough, man.
He lost it to a Zealot.
That's rough.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's rough. I'm not going to lie.
That is really, really rough. Here we go. Vulture over the wall.
This could do a lot of damage.
Dragoon will be out soon. Yeah, it could do a lot of damage, but... This is it's pretty delayed.
I mean, it might get 2 or 3 probes here, just barely. Might just barely get 2 or 3 here.
Starport in the middle of the map. Yeah, he really needs to get some damage because Best has been pumping away probes at this natural. He's going to jump on top with the probes. He's going to get one more. Just 2.
Yeah.
That's a bit sad for Royal.
It's a little sad. It's a lower end on the stick for the range of potential value there. But it is what it is, you know. It's something. It's a little bit of compensation, although sometimes you would rather have that Vulture left alive in a more traditional setup without these lanes, because you'd want to have that for mines to lay down expansions or what have you. But it has a little bit less value in this setup with the lanes as they are. So maybe not quite as bad of a decision just to commit the Vulture, try and get as many probe kills as possible and give himself a nice little economic lead early on.
Well, I like what Best is doing now that he's seen the Vulture opener. He knows that he's going to be far ahead economically, in fact, and he's just going to go 3 Gateway Observatory. 3 Gate Goons, kills pretty much anything, and the drop is no exception. As long as he's got Dragoons spread all over inside of his base, he shouldn't take too much damage from this. and he could even go into a third base pretty quickly. Whereas Royal is struggling to, get his economy rolling, and he's committing a lot of resources into getting this quick drop. He's not going to have a lot of tanks for a follow-up push, which means that Best will be very safe to just mass expand and get really far ahead.
Yeah. There's a big gamble going for this dropship play. Who knows, mate? The Best's Dragoons are a little bit out of position right now, and there's only one, I think, in the main base that will be popping out soon, so maybe he could do a lot of damage here, especially if he can lay down some muds. Okay, here come the 2 Dragoons from the other side, so might get a lot of damage. Oh, beautiful block there with the pylon finishing the wall. Nice Sim City setup here from Best, maximizing the Sim City to the best of his content, and also getting the probe shuffled over to the bottom side, so he's not taking too many losses either. Really well done. Like, every intention there from Best was really spot on. Like, I feel like his Sim City was almost designed that way so that if he needed to, he could plug those gaps. Really well done from him.
In the end, he loses maybe 4 probes, 5 probes. Some of those probes out mining minerals that are not part of the regular mineral patches. These walls were pretty vulnerable.
Yeah.
So he was able to pick off more than maybe he would have otherwise if everything was, sitting back in a good defensive position. Next to the Nexus, he probably wouldn't have been able to get as much damage as he did. Now, he can drop behind this SimCity. That would be amazing. Because the Dragoons... Yeah, the Dragons might not be able to get back there, but yeah, the drop would probably die, and then he wouldn't have that utility to keep Best in check. So he's going to keep that alive for now.
Well, it's almost the threat of it is better than the execution of it, right? Like, because then Best can't move out and put pressure onto Royal. Whereas if he commits with the dropship and loses it, then Best knows he's got smooth sailing all the way to your base, and then all of a sudden your one tank is looking pretty flimsy.
That's right. And so some Dragoons are going to make their way up to the front, just checking. They're going to see the 1 tank drop, loads up once again. 2 tanks are now available, so a little bit more robust with that, plus the wall and the bunker. He's probably not going to die. Is it time to dive in with this? He is going to jump in, start to throw down these vultures. 3 kills so far, a 4th, and possibly a 5th. Ooh. Not bad at all. Now it's getting kind of crazy.
Yeah.
6, 7. This is looking very good, and he'll get out with these 2 vultures, which is amazing.
Really impressive.
Could pick those back up again and maybe land them on the island, or just drop them somewhere to keep tabs on where these bases might be coming up for Best.
Yeah, that wasn't necessarily like sharp levels of vulture control, but that was certainly like sharp levels of vulture damage, like really high level of probe kills achieved there in the early mid-game state. It's really impressive. We will now make him much more content to just sit back and power a little bit, even though the Best got away with this 12 Nexus early game without too much punishment being dealt to him. So yeah, I would say Royal's now finally got that compensation that he was looking for. Scans and sees the Reaver tech as well, so not going to be going ahead in the dark in any sense of the word. Going to be going up to 5 factories even, giving himself a lot of mid-range versatility against the Reaver tech. You want to have as many units as possible, so you can just basically steamroll the Reaver player and not just let them tactically snipe your tanks as they try and siege across the map.
He opened with a starport. Did he make a Wraith? It can be a great counter.
It can be, yes, but I don't think he did in this case. He does sometimes, though.
Yeah, it seems like he hasn't built that. Bit of a missed opportunity there. Sometimes if the Protoss player loses the Dragoon, they kind of have to bring a Dragoon if you build a Wraith.
Yeah.
And he might even have a Dragoon inside this shuttle right now. But if he loses a Dragoon, then sometimes the Wraith can just chase and gun down that shuttle, and then you lose the shuttle and the Reaver and everything. So, bit of a missed opportunity. Best is not going to dive in, though. He sees the turrets, he sees the defensive setup, and he just goes ahead and heads back home. He's going to pick up double Reaver, I think, and maybe bring it to bear at the front.
No.
Are we going to see a patented Best bust?
Yes, we will. Of course we will, Sam. I mean, we'll be talking about it here. It doesn't matter how formidable your defenses may look. Best will just take one look at it and just be like, King Kong smash. And that's just how it is. Like, somehow he makes it work, and fair play to him. If it works, it works. Oh, he's going to catch the dropship!
Oh. Oops. Well, He didn't have vision of that control tower. If you guys didn't know, when you lift off your building and leave the add-on does not continue to grant vision.
It becomes
a neutral building.
Yeah. So he had no idea that was even happening. So he kind of like just ran in there and like, unfortunately, just got absolutely decimated. But it has a lot of tanks though, does Royal. And look at the supplies. Now, there might be enough meat to his army that he can kind of shove Best back a little bit here, make him, kind of a little bit hesitant to come in here. But like we see Best utilizing these Reavers to be a bit tactical here and just snipe a few of these tanks and at the very least force as many sieges as possible. Some scans coming from Royal to try and clean out the observers and maybe get a tactical snipe on this shuttle. So far, good control from Best though.
Best is going to rotate around and may actually stop this third CC from building, which is very annoying. Royal was hoping to expand and grow into a third while doing this push, but now he can't really do that. He's also going to be taking some damage on this supply depot, so he'll have to bring some of his rallies back. Oh, the Reaver goes down. Best was not paying attention, trying to get these Dragoons to go in and fight, and he's putting together some Templar and Storms to try and break this push, so losing some of the utility of those Reavers might be painful, but the siege up is quite late. All the Zealots get on top of a lot of these tanks. The drops... Oh god, this storm as well is insane. So much damage.
Holy wow. I've not seen that many Terran units die that quickly in a long time. What did we just watch, guys? I feel like someone's gonna start an OnlyFans with that as like some of like the paywall content. What is going on?
Well, King Kong decided to smash. It was a little bit later than we expected. It wasn't an attack, it was a defense, but it was a defensive smash.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a calculated smash, right? Like he didn't just run in and smash. He kind of like ran away, made it. He did like a false charge. Like the gorillas in the jungle, they false charge you, right? They don't actually charge you for real. They kind of test you to see if like you'll actually flinch and like be shit scared, right? So if you hold your ground against the false charge, the gorilla might actually be like a little bit wary of you and back up a little bit more. Whereas, yeah, we kind of saw that from Best, just a nice little false charge. Royal held his own, so, Best retreated to the jungle a little bit. Royal got a little bit too cocky, though, stepped into his territory and got ripped apart.
Yeah, the late siege was very painful. Royal lost so many tanks. He has to take a third base now. There's no other choice. You can't put together another army like that this quickly.
No.
And these bases mine out kind of fast. I don't think we ever checked that, did we? Shouldn't. How many minerals are at each of these patches? But it's got to be less. Yeah, these expansions.
I don't know.
Is it 1500?
I think it's normal. I don't think they changed it.
It's already mined out. It's 13 minutes in, and the natural's mined out.
I don't know. Wait. Which natural? You mean Best natural?
Royal's natural.
I guess
the main's not mined out, but the natural's gone.
But I don't think the original was like that. Maybe they remade it and changed the mineral values. I don't know about that. Maybe they've changed it. I don't think it was always like that, if that's the case. Yeah, it definitely must have made it like 1,000 or something, right?
I wonder. Well, big bust coming from Best.
Ooh.
I expect nothing less. There should be a great storm here on all these vultures, and the tank is going to end up getting taken out as well. Zealot's getting right up on top of this. I don't think he can push past the CC, but he might be able to force the CC to cancel.
Yeah.
That's a lot of tanks on the other side of these mineral patches, which will be very hard to push through. The DT getting in, dealing some damage as well. Picks off 2 tanks.
Pretty good.
Because the science vessel didn't fly forward. There we go. The command center will fall. And I don't think it was canceled either. No. I think he just lost all the money from that. And Royal is falling back into his own main base. He's going to take a huge mine. Oh!
That's gonna be the GG trigger. Can't say I blame him. Wow, absolute monstrous performance from Best. He still somehow acts like a beast no matter what the environment is. Even if you take him out of the jungle, he still seems to be in his element. Absolute mad lad. Much respect to him.
요새 흔히들 유행하는 킥이라고 하거든요. 그 킥이 4드라군 돌리기. 그게 진짜 별거 아닌 것 같아 보여도 이게 되게 설계가 돼 있다고 느껴요.
What a monster.
일찌감치 빼내면서 이제 본인이
Yeah.
6시를 먹었기 때문에
Well, that's a good start for Protoss. There we go.
Yeah.
어떻게 보면 좀 예상이 뻔했거든요. 그걸 예상해서
Nice.
4드라군을 빼서
This might be their day. They might be able to
추가적인
I want it to be.
finagle a win.
Yeah, I want to see the mix up. I don't want it to be like they give up and don't try too hard until the semis. Let's fucking go. Have some good games.
Yeah, put out your best.
Literally.
Literally and figuratively. All right.
만약에 이재동 선수가 이 게임을 이기게 되면 4위로 이름을 올립니다. 그러면은 김명훈 선수와 자리를 바꿉니다. 그렇죠? 저는 궁금하게 김명훈 선수가
With Royal being eliminated,
같은 저그 팀이기 때문에
we've got Jaedong coming out. True Broodwar royalty here. Spawning in the top left-hand corner on Dominator. Best over in the center right. This guy, absolute king of Broodwar.
Yeah. Jaedong doesn't really need an introduction. I think like pretty much everyone knows who he is. Like he's kind of like the Zerg Flash in terms of his popularity. It's kind of hard not to know who Jaedong is, even as someone that maybe only knows Starcraft from a more cursory view and doesn't actually play the game. You know what I mean? Like you're probably gonna hear of him in some way, shape, or form. The Tyrant himself has so many titles under his belt, such a legacy behind him. Isn't quite playing at the same level of his former glory, but has been stepping up a little bit in recent times. Maybe he can have a little bit of a shine back to former glory here, like some of these other guys are. It remains to be seen.
Yeah, I thought he was going to do a little bit better overall this year, but he's still on the come up. He's still improving.
Yeah.
Takes so much dedication and time to... unless you're Rain, of course, but to get to that level, you do need a huge amount of dedication, time, and effort. And Jaedong's getting on a little bit. He's got other things to do. He's got other pursuits. Nexus first from Best. Wow, just saw that. We got Jaedong going for a 12 hatch. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but man, can the Protoss pump out a lot of units off of a Nexus first? It really messes with the math that you have, the calculation that you have in this game.
These are the kind of games that would give you an energetic buzz back in the day. Like say it was like Jaedong versus Stork or something, and Jaedong goes for Hatchery first and Stork goes for Nexus first. Yeah, like people are going crazy at that. Like interesting things will be had nonetheless, no matter what happens in this game. I think like Best is going to get the better end of the stick though, unless the Zerg double hatches before pull, there's no real way of punishing this or gaining an economic edge over it. You'll kind of just have to suck it up unless you were already hard countering him anyway of an early pull.
Yeah, absolutely. The usual counter would be to run by. You have to run by with Lings, but look at this, he's not even building a cannon. Best gets in, he scouts him first, he sees that he's got the late pool, and he's going to start the cannon after Gateway and Gas. Oh my god, this is crazy. He's going to have an enormous advantage and an insanely fast Corsair.
This is almost too much. Like an amateur player would struggle to optimize this. You know what I mean? Like this is almost like too good. Like an amateur player would actually probably like make a fumble of this and would rather just like make the cannon and be safe and like keep his build tight and mid range. Whereas like Best is like such a knowledgeable guy that he's probably going to get so much juice out of this orange Saiyan. It's insane.
Yeah, he's going to have the fastest Corsair possible, with a ton of gateways, a lot of zealots, the timings are all going to be pushed up by like a full 30 seconds in terms of when he can push with certain numbers of units. It's going to be rough. Jaedong, he'll have to have more defenses, and that means he's going to have less drones. Best has an enormous tempo advantage, and I know it doesn't look like a lot right now, but it is overwhelming as a Zerg player when you're trying to deal with something like this.
Yeah, there's some things in Starcraft which are more obvious, where like your eyes can just see on the screen what's happening and make sense of it. There's a lot of things which are much more subtle and nuanced, and this is one of those things where on paper it might not look like much to you guys, but right now like Best's range of play is so huge and powerful. Like all of his timings have become not only earlier but stronger, and like usually as a Zerg you're already like kind of fighting from behind a little bit against the Nexus first, but when they've got like optimized builds as well as the Nexus first, it's kind of operating on a level of insanity.
So we're going to see that first Corsair come out. Jaedong just started his Spires, so he's likely going to lose 2 Overlords just for a start, right? If these are found out, he's going to try and hide them, but assuming that Best can find some of these Overlords, he's going to deal a lot of damage. And Jaedong, I mean, he's going to grab his 4th hatch, his 5th hatch. He's going to get those Scourge out and prepare for a normal game. And I know you talk about this a lot, shouldn't we? He's just going to have to play from behind. Sometimes you have to swallow this as a Zerg player.
You have to. As a Zerg player, that's especially in this matchup, that's pretty much the go-to response, is if you're behind and there's no obvious counter, you play as you usually would. That's just how you do it. You play how you would usually play, and you just suck up that it's from behind. Going to be getting a full scout off with that Corsair as well. Has done a pretty good job of like tucking some of these Overlords into like awkward, hard-to-reach places, so maybe you're not going to be acquiring too many of those kills. Might be able to get the intercept trajectory on at least one of these here and maybe get this kill at least.
Yeah, he's gonna get this one for sure, but the Spire is now done, and he will likely only get one.
Yeah.
Just the one kill, which is amazing for Jaedong.
Well, he made extra just in case anyway, but it's good
out.
that he doesn't have to replace that anyway. You know, it's just one little thing he doesn't have to worry about. It's another 100 minerals in the bank, so to speak. Beautiful surround on these Zealots, actually. Took a little bit while from Best to deny some surface area. Finally going to be getting some better trades by tucking his Zealots closer together and microing them back a little bit. Jaedong's still pressing the issue and trying to get as many forced interactions as possible. All the Zealots are on like red HP, super low. Beautiful HP management here from Best. Jaedong really overestimating his own ability there, but might be able to drill and kill all 3 of these Zealots really quickly with good stacking of the drones. You have to align the drones manually before you shoot to make sure they all fire, but Jaedong did a pretty good job of that. Didn't really lose too many drones there, fortunately.
Just one drone ends up going down, a little bit of lost mining time. But this all hurts. It all slows you down just a little bit more. Everything that goes wrong in this game is adding to the lead that Best has already accumulated. He's making a bunch of cannons back at home so that he can't die to these Hydras. He's going to come across the map with 4 Corsairs. These Overlords are going to start to die very quickly, and Jaedong not reacting, doesn't even get any damage on these Corsairs, so they're going to keep moving through and killing off more Overlords. This can spiral very quickly.
This is looking. Oh, he's got some. Okay, if he catches catches one of those Corsairs so close to getting 2 kills there, would be insane if he got 2 Corsairs there. Does manage to catch one, which is already a big deal. If Jaedong can keep the Corsair in a low enough count, Best hasn't really got a lot of. Oh, I can't believe that.
Another one.
I can't believe it actually went down there. What did we just watch? I'm sure that's a bit of a mistake there from Best. He just did not assume that Jaedong would stay on trajectory with the cannon being there. But yeah, Jaedong is just absolute like cold face killer right now, and might be able to put some pressure on with these Hydras. There is a beautiful cannon wall in a diagonal line, but it doesn't really matter with the good target firing. He's going to pick off the 2 really quickly, and now the 3rd cannon already falling, with the 4th starting to take a lot of damage. There's 2 high Templars here, but it's not enough to hold it on, and Jaedong finally flips the script on Best and says, "Get the hell out of my game, I'm the tyrant."
Unbelievable. Look at the timing on that Storm. He had Storm at 8 minutes. You generally expect a storm timing to be finishing up at 9 minutes.
He had
a full minute early.
He had the 4 cannons and 2 storms at 8 minutes, which is the bare minimal defense that you need to break a Hydra bust at that time. He had the tools necessary, but Jadon execution was so flawless there.
Absolutely flawless, and I saw that Best sent out 3 zealots right before that attack came in as well. He was too confident in the fact that he was going to be able to hold that with the 2 storms and 4 cannons. Having the zealots in the mix to just kind of block the Hydras from running forward and add that DPS would have made quite a bit of a difference, and unfortunately he didn't keep those around. Best maybe getting overconfident. I don't know.
Yeah.
He had such a huge advantage, but it's insane to watch Jaedong flip the script on him. Really, really good play.
Damn. Yeah.
I was expecting a great game there, you know, a really long, fun game, but
it should have
been.
It should have
got
been
in there.
It should have been, but there was like a tiny window of vulnerability. It was not quite enough zealots to soak up damage, and there's only 2 storms perfectly available. So as long as you storm dodge pretty good, then maybe there's a chance to break through, and he did exactly that. And there was one tiny window of opportunity that maybe would have lasted like 10-20 seconds, but he managed to hit it and smashed it.
All right. Nice. Speed is next.
Let's get it.
현호랑이 다시 100개. 이영웅, 이재동 매치 기대가. 요거 재밌을 거예요. 왜냐면 늘 보던 양상은 아닐 거예요. 그리고 저는 개인적으로
I gotta say, Jaedong really surprising me, and in a very good way that last game. Able to take down Best. His next opponent will be Speed, spawning in the top right-hand corner. This should be an amazing matchup. Speed has been so fun to watch recently because he's really upped his game and has shown us next level aggressive style out of Terran.
Right. Well, he's been one of the more up and coming Terrans we've had for a while now. We've had players like Sharp, like Speed, that are really modern, new up and coming Terrans, and they seem to be so dedicated to the game, and they've been rising rapidly in both their skill level and potential in their play. So always fascinating to see how these players are going to be stacking up. You never know quite what will happen. Suddenly we might see, in like 2 years' time, Speed might be winning SSLs. You never know what's going to happen in Starcraft, especially with how dedicated some of these guys are to this game. If 1 or 2 of the other guys start dropping down a little bit or not quite pulling their own, they might be very talented, but if you don't put in the hard work, and the other guy's putting in more hours than you and is more passionate about reaching that goal, then you're probably going to get squashed eventually.
For sure, and Speed seems to have that longevity or that dedication that's necessary to reach the pinnacle of Starcraft play, and he's going to be opening with a wall on kickback. Will this be for pool? Will this be for a double starport play? Because we know that Speed's very good at that type of style.
Yes, and he will probably go for that, and he should go for that, because this is one of the best maps to go for Wraithson, I would say. For sure, and I think it'd be amazing if he's also, I think, one of the better Wraith users, if I'm not mistaken. Like, once upon a time that didn't used to be the case, but he is pretty adept in his Wraith control. Like, certainly, like players like Light once upon a time were considered the best in their Wraith control usage, but I think in modern times there's a few players like Speed that have a little bit of extra finesse with their Wraith control.
Yeah, he's like a Leda who knows how to play the rest of the game as well. Can pull out those Wraiths every once in a while. That was the thing that we were talking about with Leda a long time ago. It's like, wow, his Wraith control is so good, but if only he could do all the other stuff too. But it seems like Speed has that level.
Yeah, if you could have like Later's like Wraith control, but like Flash's overall game knowledge and stuff, and then like he transitions from the Wraith control into the standard games like flawlessly, like oh my god, he would be such a monster. And like I think you'd have like a Wraith meta, and like StarCraft would look a lot differently.
Wow, he sent one Marine across the map. This is just to force the drones off the line.
Yeah.
Over here at the natural, will he build a bunker?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Depot.
Supply depot. This is so annoying. The Lynx can't get on top of this. Oh man.
This is crazy.
Beware the ladder this week, Zerg players. This is gonna be a thing for a while, I bet. Man, that's so annoying.
That's more than annoying, yeah. You're gonna have like Zergs like rush to like drill the Marine as it comes in. They're so desperate not to let it get behind the mineral line, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, he can mine, I guess, off of a couple of these patches. Jaedong just going to mine what he can while he can. He has a sunken coming up at the front as the vulture runs in. Is it going to finish in time? Oh, it's pretty close. He's going to run by. Oh my gosh, he just barely makes it through. 10 HP on that. But he's going to keep it alive as long as he can while he starts this Wraith production. This is starting to put a lot of pressure on a Jaedong.
Yeah.
This is a very low HP vulture, but it doesn't matter. As long as it's got some HP on it, it can continuously micro against these Lings forever, killing off more and more, and maybe killing off some drones as well. This is going to spiral out of control very quickly. There you go. He picks it off with that one Ling. That was a very scary moment there as that vulture gets behind the mineral patches. Things can get really out of control, but he picks it off. Yeah. But will he be ready for the Wraiths? Where's the Spire?
I mean, he doesn't have
there
one.
It is.
I mean, he doesn't have one ready yet. Like the Wraiths will probably do significant damage to Jaedong. I don't think he's necessarily going to be dead, but I feel like he might take almost critical damage. I don't know exactly how this is going to go down, but he's going to lose a lot of overlords very quickly, and that might put him into a downward spiral where he's not able to produce any Scourge, any Mutalisks for a very long time if he keeps chain losing overlords and drones over and over again here. I hope his overlords are way better hidden. I think there's one overlord that's also about to be caught here at the third.
Oh, I would love to see Burrow right now. Did Jaedong go for it? It's so powerful in these situations. Doesn't seem like he has it. Let's see. This drone is about to get picked off. He's running the drone, so it's unlikely that he actually has Burrow. He pops it into the extractor, and he hasn't lost a drone yet. He still hasn't cleared out that Marine, by the way. That thing's still sitting there.
He's just sitting there.
Oh, that's so annoying.
And the depot's not even finished, so we can just cancel that to get his money back on that later as well. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, that is insane. Well, there we go. He does cancel. Gonna run out, try to kill one drone. Not gonna get it. But that was insanely annoying. Speed, maxing out his annoying stat. Kind of crazy.
I mean, that's what we've seen from these modern Terrans, is they've just been all over the enemy's faces, and like I think that's a great modern approach to StarCraft. I feel like Terrans got a little bit too comfortable just sitting back and relaxing, and you really do need to apply pressure while you're growing as Terran. Like it's one thing to grow, but to play a great game of StarCraft, you want to grow while applying pressure to your opponent. Doing a great job of coming to the main base with these Wraiths. Can be picking off one of the overlords very quickly and starting to go to town on these units. Has the cloak ability, so as long as he can just dodge out of the way of the overlord, he'll be okay. But he lost one of the Wraiths really quickly there. Took some hits on the others as well. Needs to be very seriously careful with these Wraiths. But one tiny misstep, they're like paper tigers. They can dish out a lot of damage of their Gemini missiles, but as soon as you take just a few volleys from these mutas or one or two Scourge connect, it can all go downhill from there.
Yeah, he thought that the other overlord was a little bit further away after picking off that first one. Thought he could get some more damage going. He's actually going to get... Oh, wow. Gets one drone, but can he hit this Scourge? Just barely out of range. Nice control there by Speed.
Yeah.
Playing pretty risky, though, with these Wraiths overall. And if you lose a few of them, you're just going to completely lose the game.
Yeah, it's a very, very tenuous thing. You got to be really on top of things, because if you just like lose one or two Wraiths accidentally, suddenly you've got no air superiority, and then the whole build kind of just falls flat on its face. So if you make one tiny misstep with these Wraiths, it will probably be disastrous for him. So far, he's done a reasonable job. He did do a lot of damage with Vultures early on, although, to be fair, Jaedong did weather the storm. Like, he didn't take as much damage as he could have done. Beautiful control with these Wraiths, though, like sniping all these Scourge. This is getting pretty maximum trades here for the time being, and killing all these Overlords pretty means that Jaedong's going to take infinite damage in the chase micro now if there's not enough Overlord backing him up, so needs to be careful not to, like, if he's only got one Overlord in reserve here and that gets sniped, he might just take too much infinite damage on these units, and he's going to get the Overlord for free! He's got the Overlord for free! These units are dead in the water, saying, why is he not chasing them?
Oh my gosh, he doesn't chase? That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Speed definitely should have gotten some more damage from that. Oh, diving right in with no Overlord on top of turrets with Cloak Wraiths, and a Valkyrie pops out. This seems a little bit crazy from Jaedong. He will be able to escape with the majority of these Mutilas still alive, but that seemed nuts to me.
Yeah.
I guess there's some Overlords coming that were going to arrive after the turrets were finished, but Jaedong's being really aggressive.
This
and
is too much desperation.
Yeah. With 2 Valkyries out now, I mean, he's going to go up to 3 in a moment. And you still got Wraiths and a lot of turrets. You've got to just expand, I think, as Jaedong. We're still 1 base as Speed, so that's not a lot of threat. And there's no Marine transition or anything like that. It's just pure air. Playing defensive is not a bad thing in this spot.
Right. No, I agree. I concur with that. And I think expanding and just like using some Scourge to maybe like snipe those Valkyries after baiting them with the Mutas or something, like that's a much better option here. Don't be so aggressive on 2 bases. Just get this 3rd base going and then use the Scourge to try and, you know, get a tempo swing by sniping those Valkyries later, and just suck up the fact that you're going to have to deal with the Valkyries. I don't think he should come in right now either, but he's going to do it and take so much damage onto these Mutas. Oh.
4 Valkyries is getting a little bit insane. I don't know if we have Carapace on these Mutas, but now they're going to come across the map, start to kill some Overlords. The Wraiths are very, very weak, so you have to be super careful with these.
Oof.
This army is crazy what he's bringing forward.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 Valkyries and 6 Wraiths. If it works, it works amazingly well. If it doesn't work, it gets completely splattered. 3 Hydras are going to prevent him from diving in. He lost 1 Valkyrie to the Scourge, but he finds a huge group of Overlords. How many of these can he kill? Scourge arrive, and he's going to have to micro away from this. Keep those Valkyries alive. They are all important right now, because as soon as those Valkyries die, the Mutas will just overwhelm the entire position.
I'm so speechless that like more Valkyries haven't fallen. It's really unfortunate for Jaedong. So many Scourge dying just before they can connect. Another full connection on those Mutas with the Valkyrie missiles. Like, this is just so much damage for Jaedong to weather. I don't know if he can stay in this game for much longer. He's taking so many drone hits. The expansion's really slow as well. Finally catches some more of these Valkyries. The other 2 are very dangerously low on HP as well. So 2 Scourge could kill both of those. But so many drones have been going down to this small pocket of a Wraith fleet here, just even 5 being enough to burst laser down those drones with 1 volley. And now this is what we should have seen earlier, is a little bit more aggression once the cloak with no vision is a factor, and putting down more Gemini missiles onto those Mutas as they're on the escape.
Air Terran play. Didn't think I'd ever see it, but here it is.
Well, there's Berkers now.
Pure air units. Lurkers are going to come to the front. We do have a bunker with some turrets, but no scans at all. So you might lose all of the supply depots anyway. Nice snipe there with just 1 Scourge flying in, picking off a Wraith. Always a good trade.
What'd be crazy if he's even got drop? If Jaedong got drop and dropped Lurkers onto the expansion of Speed, that'd be crazy.
That would be pretty strong. All we need is a scan, though, and the Wraiths will kill all the Lurkers. So once that scanner comes online, this is going to be a much weaker play. Maybe while Speed is on the other side of the map, we could see some real damage come in, though, with these Lurkers. Let's see what happens. This is going to be a big trade going on in a moment.
It's so funny. Look at that. Look at that. And there's the other unit scouting in the middle as well. Literally went through the strip of non-vision there, like threading the needle with those Lurkers. Now he's going to have a small air of safety maybe, and these lurkers actually might be able to get something done by pouncing on the natural wall in here. They're going in now to check to see what's what. They're going to just probably burrow right on top of this bunker and see if they can just crack that open like an egg before... if he was paying attention, he could at least stim into the bunker or something if he had stim, but I don't think he's got any grades on these units at all. So, unfortunately, like, we'll lose the bunker, but honestly, not too bad. Like, getting all kills of the lurker, just losing a bunker is not really that big a deal if there's no way of following that up from Jaedong. So yeah, all things considered, I think Speed's like looking pretty solid in this game.
Yeah, I think that Jaedong went for the kill there a little bit too hastily.
Yeah.
He wanted to jump on the bunker rather than just parking himself outside the natural and setting up a position that Speed would have to deal with while taking out all of those supply depots. Outside of range of the turret, you can easily get those kills, but he got a little greedy for sure. Now he's going to fly into the natural. Sees turrets and defenses ready. The mutas are going to be under threat now with these... Oh, wait, he gets both the Valkyries. Okay, that's not a bad trade at all.
Yeah.
He will lose the mutas, but at least he killed all the Valkyries. He can remake these mutas and potentially take this fight. However... that's a lot of raids coming in. I don't think even 3 Hydras can stop this.
No, certainly
definitely they can't kill them in time to prevent all the drones from going down. Here comes some more mutas. The wraiths are starting to take some damage. They're starting to get low, but he's going to deal so much damage to this main base, Shun.
Yeah, infinity damage, it seems like, saying so many drones have already gone down in this game to race, and it seems like that number's only going to continue to rise as well. Even going to rotate around to the natural expansion and get some more on the exit with Overlords as well to compensate. This is absolute wild levels of damage, like 31 supply to 72 for Jaedong. This is not the game you want to be in. This is a rough one. This is almost like a game you'd give to someone as like a challenge. Like, can you beat this game scenario? Because it's like really hard, you know?
Yeah, this reminds me of like scouts flying around in your base, just killing off everything. Scouts, of course, much more tanky, far more expensive, but no less annoying. And the amount of damage that they can do is crazy once they get into high enough numbers, and you just don't have, or you have Hydras running around chasing them down everywhere, but eventually they can just start to fight the Hydras, and that's the level that we might be getting to here soon with Speed. Now he's got so many raids. He's continued to make these throughout the entirety of the game, now starting to switch into tanks and Marines, and this tank marine attack, I don't see how Jaedong can stop it.
Yeah, especially not with having sacrificed those lurkers so frivolously earlier. And again, coming back in, doing so much damage to these Wraiths. Yeah, he's just going to tap out and GG. I can't really blame Jaedong. I'm surprised he stayed in the game that long. There really wasn't much counterplay to what was being done to him there, unfortunately. I thought he would go for some kind of like Hail Mary lurker drop while like the Wraiths were distracted while attacking him or something, and like suddenly like there's like lurkers killing all his SCVs, and maybe that's a big enough tempo swing to give him some leg in the game, but nah, it seems like too bleak for him, unfortunately. So only down to action left waiting in the wings, but meanwhile it's going to be Speed going up against either Stork or Bisu next. So
all right. That's funny. It was just a random shot of Stork.
There's some really funny random shots. There's some really funny random shots in it. Some of them really make me laugh. Like there'll be like a random one of like now Ra, and I just can't help but giggle. It's now Ra again. Speaking of the devil, I love this guy.
Yeah, strange ears.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know if you guys know, but the tissue thing is a meme because he's always playing with tissue. He's always got like a kitchen roll, or you know, like toilet roll next to him on the desk playing. Always got it running. He knows that guy.
That's funny. All right, let's go. Stork versus Speed for our next match. Radion is our map, and This is a matchup that like last year I would not have been too excited about. Now I'm all about it, Jim. I love these two players.
Right. I mean, yeah, like about a year or two ago, you'd probably be like, yeah, it's probably not going to be that special. But yeah, in recent times, these guys have really shown that there's a lot to offer, and Stork is even more interesting because he was like a dinosaur, a relic of old that somehow has got some new life, breathed into him. It's almost like like a sequel to one of the Jurassic Park films. They just like never seem to die. They just keep coming out with like a sequel,
Yeah, those sequels just keep on coming and coming. It's definitely time to go extinct. But Stork, he's making a huge comeback in a big way. I thought this season he was going to go even deeper, run in SSL. But there's still some things to iron out for sure. But if he keeps this kind of energy, if he keeps this kind of momentum going, there's no limit to how far he can rise. We know that he is championship level material from the Kespa era. It's not like there's something stopping him from being that high level. It's just all down to this player and what he's willing to put into the game.
Yeah, this is what's so interesting about it. I mean, this guy might still be still be here playing from like 5-10 years from now, and he still might be putting in good games. Who knows who's going to be the next guy to rise from the ashes once more? It's almost like these guys are literally phoenixes that die and then get reborn yet again in the future, just because of how much they've got. They got such. Maybe only games like Starcraft and something that's as special as Starcraft can even make you that passionate or that dedicated to it to even allow that thing to transpire in the first place, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean. Such a special game is the reason why we're still here 20 years later casting these and enjoying these games, and we're still hype about these matches and who's rising and who's
the stories they tell,
waning, and the stories, the adventures that these guys go on when they try to qualify for these different tournaments and show up these amazing games. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this one. Stork has already thrown down his Nexus on 19 before his Dragoon, so he's getting a little bit greedy with the early Nexus, but seeing that it's a cross-map position, I think he should be able to get away with it. Speed, on the other hand, opened with a pretty early CC. Does he have a factory started yet? I think he does.
I don't see it. I don't actually see it.
Okay, I think he just started it now. He's definitely floating out his barracks. I'm just looking at the mini-map right now. So yeah, he just got that started. He went for CC before factory, but kind of a mixed gas opener. So not a full gasless fast expand, but a pretty fast CC nonetheless.
Yeah, very fast command center. And I mean, Stork is going to be super safe with the cross-map Nexus first. It's Radiant, the longest rush distance we have in the game. It's such a beautiful standard map as well. Like, they've done a great job with this. Like, we had some good standard maps in the past. Polypoid, Vermeer's been okay. Sylphid actually was a pretty balanced map, but it wasn't a standard map. It had like a lot of gimmicks to it and what have you, which made it a bit lopsidedly balanced. Whereas this map is like really like right in the middle, 14 bases, like beautiful long rush distances, forcing open play and like much more dynamic range in the mid-game phases. Yeah, it's a perfect balance in this map. I'm really impressed with the map makers and pro gamers that managed to put this together, and I think they worked very hard on it.
Absolutely, it's given us some great games, and I think we'll continue to do so for many seasons going forward. I would love to see other maps made by AMD come back, though, like Vermeer.
Yeah.
When are we going to see that back in the map pool?
I don't know.
Missed that map.
It's a good map, but I think it was a little bit less balanced than people originally thought. I can't remember what the exact statistics were on that, but I think it turned out to be a tiny bit less balanced than we originally thought. Something like this, I think, is much more well-rounded and what have you. So, yeah, but I do agree, though. I really liked the geometry of Vermeer and how it played and what have you. Even if it was slightly lopsided in the balance, it's still a nice map to play on and watch.
And we hope that more AMD maps will come out in the future. It's awesome to have big companies that are interested in still promoting to Starcraft fans by creating maps and doing different little things like supporting different tournaments and stuff. It's amazing. So I think it's just fantastic that we have companies interested in the game still.
I think there's some loyalty there. I think, like, I mean, certain companies and, like, Starcraft's been around for a very long time, and Kesper was founded a very long time ago, and a lot of these companies and what have you have been, you know, working hand in hand with Starcraft and, you know, Blizzard and technically, and so over the years, I guess there's maybe some kind of loyalty that's there as a result. They both kind of got each other's backs, at least a little bit.
Yeah, because I mean, you're not selling AMD brand new graphics chips to many StarCraft players. Like they don't need much of a setup. They don't need much of a PC setup to play this game. But
that's a love sponsor right there. I would not doubt that the executives or what have you that are in charge of like maintaining that sponsorship and what have you or whatever. I bet you any money those guys like have some kind of fandom for the game. Either they were players themselves or they like have some kind of vested interest in the community through just a spectator point of view or just in like what it's done for esports. I mean, it literally is the godfather of esports. It created esports. I mean, how can you not have some respect for that?
Absolutely. So that is exciting to have those type of relationships still flourishing in 2024. We've got Stork taking his third base now, sending out some probes. He has the wall in. Speed's going to try and get over there just in time to catch some of these probes, but nice block by Stork. Stork is playing very solid. Hasn't done any damage to Speed just yet, but he's deflecting everything and getting his bases up in short order.
It's gonna be fun.
I think
go on.
Yeah, 5-fact into a third base. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. I think that's the play as well. I think that makes sense.
Very mid-range builds here from both players have propelled us into a very quick mid-game. The 20 Nexus, not quite as greedy as a Nexus first, but still a lot of greed there. Speed opening with a gas into command center and getting the factory after the command center is also a little bit greedy, but more towards the mid-range of greed. And so both players very even right now. You can see just a 20 supply advantage for Stork as this push starts to come out. Is he actually going to go across the map, though, or is this just him threatening? I feel like a CC has been built on the high ground above
he's
his
just
third.
Posturing to take his third,
Yeah, this... Oh, no, that's not a CC. That's actually a floating eBay. So, you know, maybe he does want to push. Maybe just opening up some space to get vultures out on the map. I'm not so sure.
Right. Yeah, I don't know exactly what his plan is. Maybe he himself is kind of trying to gauge what he should do. Like, he's trying to think, do I want to push out and take my third on location? Or do I want to go for a push, just push here? He sees the Reavers and he knows he's 5-fact, so he's got a pretty good, you know, like pretty good expected value to be had in the trades there. With the 5 factories, you can kind of be a little bit more aggressive than usual with the Reaver, you trying to skirmish you down every time you siege and push across the map. You got a little bit more push potential than usual, but it is radio and it is cross map, not ideal. And against the Nexus first, I mean, yeah, I don't know if this would be ideal for Speed to push here. I feel like just the 5-fact into third is the way safer, more optimistic play in the long run.
Third base has started on location. Not a lot of defenses over near the natural, and Stork's going to put a little wedge in between these two bases. Landing the Reavers there and picking off quite a few vultures as they kind of increment out of these factories, getting a little value while continuing to expand. His fourth base is already on the way, and Templar Archives finishing up. So he's going to have all the tools necessary to break Speed when he pushes. It'll probably be something like an 8 to 10 factory play out of Speed once this third base is fully online. That's about all that you can afford, and Speed may push with 1-1, or he could sit back, kind of wait for a bigger army and try to push out take his fourth and go into 2-2. But that's a more long-term play, and Stork may be able to take the entirety of the map during that time.
Yeah, I feel like if anything, like Speed might want to consider like being aggressive in an expansive sense, where he maybe even considers expanding vertically to be able to push into this northeast quadrant of the map to prevent Stork from dividing the map horizontally. That way, beautiful drop potential coming in for the natural expansion, though. The third, with the Shuttle Play, Reaver's getting quite a lot of damage done there, trying to evacuate as many of those workers as possible. Does cycle in the Reavers into the main base, but the shuttle goes down. There's one more shuttle left to kind of escort, but the other shuttle also gets taken out from the low ground as well. So now just going to be slugging it out with these Reavers into the main base, trying to see if they can get into the mineral line. There are another mine hit there. Beautiful connection, but the other mine not quite in position to get that. Might be able to get these Reavers quickly with the one tank shot, though. Pretty good damage from those Reavers from Stork. I don't know, that might just barely be enough damage that Stork is now going to be, like, you know, just given the green light to go ham in this game now, so...
Go ham, just start taking a bunch of bases in the other parts of the map, you mean? I think you might be right if that's the case. He can just send probes into top right and bottom left, make a bunch of pylons and cannons on high ground, start to put gateways everywhere, and it's going to be very hard for Speed to push after that. He's lost quite a few SCVs. He's lost tanks. Now he's going to lose another big chunk of SCVs to a couple of storms. Not bad, actually, with the pull.
Yeah.
And Speed will keep most of these alive, but so many of them are badly damaged, and a follow-up drop could be devastating.
Well, this is the exact kind of play that we were talking about Stork being having a high potential of. He's very good at like just a very standard, straight-up game. Like, he doesn't need to do anything fancy. He can just play a very standard game of PvT and just somehow seem to bowl over some of the best Terrans in the world like it's nothing. And he's been recently playing like this over the last, not even year, I would say more like 6 to 8 months. He suddenly just bursted out of the scene with more fire than usual, like a phoenix from the ashes, like we were talking about earlier. And yeah, somehow putting out not only standard games but really high quality standard games where he's outmaneuvering these modern guys, which is really impressive for a dinosaur to be outmaneuvering like the modern kids. Like, yeah, I don't know what planet Stork is on, but I want to go and have a little journey there sometime.
Well, Speed is not saturating his bases properly. As you can see, almost all the SCVs are over at the natural and very few are at the third base. Maybe a response to the fact that Stork keeps trying to drop at that third. He doesn't want to bring too much over to that base. The shuttle gets picked off, but there's plenty more behind this. And Speed is having a hard time getting his factory count up. He doesn't have that many factories. He's got just the 5 that he built before. And I think he added on a few more in his main just now, but...
You have to make 7 before making your 4th here. So he must have at least 7. He must have at least 7.
He's going to get a drop over towards top right. That's an excellently timed drop here before cannons get finished. A drop coming into the natural, though, could deal a huge amount of damage. Zealots on top of all of this. Going to go after the armory, potentially. I don't see any storms mixed in. Do you? Oh, there they are. The storms are going to be thrown out on some of these SCVs escaping the main base. Got to pick that up again. Try to drop it in the natural. Stork could get huge damage. He has a lot of potential damage with this. That's SCVs. A lot of SCVs stacked up.
Maybe it's gaining some energy. I don't think he's got it just yet. Absolute craziness going on in this game. I mean, Speed's trying to hold his own. He's almost got enough supply where he won't just straight up die to an engagement with Stork. But he's just on the edge there, and these storm drops doing so much critical damage. Oh my god. I don't think he's got a lot of SUVs remaining, and it's going to be another additional storm here saying, how many SUVs have died today?
So many SCVs have gone down. Stork could just transition into whatever he wants at this point. He could go into carriers if he wants, but look at all the gateways over here. Well, how did those get unpowered? I guess it was from the earlier drop out of Speed, but he's going to get those back up and operational long before he needs them. Currently maxed out. Ready to dive in against a 133 supply army. Speed is looking completely impotent in this game. He's hardly done any damage to Stork, and he's taken so many blows.
Yeah.
He's
It's
on
kinda
his
crazy.
knees
Do you know
right
what this
now.
reminds me of? This reminds me of. Do you know Sherlock Holmes? I think it was one of the movies where he's like hitting the guy, but he's like calculating in his head how he's going to hit the guy to discombobulate him like perfectly to win the fight. Like not winning with like brute strength, but like really tactically just like attacking his muscles and his vision and his lungs and shit. This is what it's like with Stork. Like Stork's just very like tactically just picking his opponent apart with like just the right amount of tools.
Another drop here. Oh my. This is when things get really insane, when he can just throw away 5 shuttles into your natural with a huge amount of zealots, and he just doesn't even care. Oh my goodness, that storm as well, dealing so much damage. Another storm to kill a whole bunch of tanks. Oh, he's forcing so many bad trades out of speed, and even though he's just wasting masses of shuttles, some of these are going to get out, and he doesn't even care.
He doesn't care.
None of it matters.
He can just remax. Oh, more storm in the main as well. This is crazy. Like Stork is playing like an absolute machine right now. Like this is kind of wild that Stork is playing this strong while just doing a straight up game.
Whenever the Protoss gets this far ahead, it's devastating.
Yeah.
Terran just can't do anything. He's got 112 supply, and he's going to try to push. Like, he really doesn't have options. If he sits here and tries to rebuild,
Now,
he's going to lose everything. Okay, he drops the no energy temple. That's going to do
the
nothing.
supplies
But
are
it's
a
fine.
little misleading. He's lost so many SEVs that he has more army than the supplies does indicate. That's why we see so many tanks there. But look how clumped up they are. They're going to get bombed and stormed into oblivion. Oh my god.
Ouch. Speed taps out. That was a brutal finisher to a torturous game
Anybody got
for
any flex
Terran.
tape?
He gets the clapper. Stork is truly back in that final form we were talking about. We haven't seen him play like this since Kespa era.
Yeah.
It is so fun to see. If he was able to pull out games like that in SSL, I feel like he could have gone right to the finals.
I think so as well, and this is why I get excited about it, because it gives me chills, because I know what this guy's capable of, okay? Like, call me a nerd, sure, but trust me, this guy is like on the verge of maybe making a comeback, and it's so exciting to watch.
I forgot to cross off Jaedong after speed.
Oh.
Took him out.
Can you do
okay.
that post-editing? Like, can you, like, edit that into your editing, if that makes sense? Like, just put that line over it in the edit. Do you know what I'm saying?
Be a pain in the ass.
But it's possible, just a pain.
Okay.
You can't just put a mask over it or something?
Yeah, I could.
Let's get it.
One sec. Oh shit. Really? I just got sent a replay pack of Xiao Shuai versus Flash best of 7.
Oh shit. Cast
That
that.
should be fun.
Yeah, do that, man. That'd be a good video. That'd be a good video. Good banger.
That'd be fun to watch. All right, so let's go. Well, I'm feeling pretty good about Protoss's chances of taking home a win this week. After that performance from Stork, he's now up against Action, who's spawning in the top right-hand corner. Pantheon is our map.
Yep.
Has he been looking as good against Zerg as he has against Terran?
No, but his PvZ has been improved a lot as well. So while he's not playing as good in PvZ as his PvT, he's certainly way better than he used to be. He used to be comically bad in PvZ a few years back. Now he kind of seems like he can hang a little bit. I don't know. We'll have to see.
He was never like snow level bad. In the past, I know that.
Well, bad compared to the ranking of player that he is, right? Like you would expect someone like him, but this is how Starcraft is. Like usually, there's like even if you're a god in one matchup, you might be an absolute sausage monkey in another one, right?
That seems to be the default, actually.
Yeah.
That most players end up like that. I think being very poor and specializing in one matchup.
I've heard from a Korean that's because of an Asian cultural thing, where in a Western culture we're much more likely to like focus on our weaknesses and like be more well-rounded, whereas the Asian cultures are more likely to like focus on their strengths and just double down.
I think that probably makes sense. I don't know anyone, any foreign players who have like a very, very specialized matchup. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know any foreign players who are like, oh, they're just garbage at that one matchup, but they're amazing at, this other one. So that there might be something to that, Shun.
I think so.
Maybe you guys can think of an example and put it down in the comments. I just can't think of anything right off the top. Now, Stork's getting in here. He's trying to block this hatchery action, bringing 2 drones over to that third, trying to get this hatchery down, but oh my gosh, he continues to block that. If he'd brought the Zealot over here, wouldn't that have done a lot more damage? I feel like bringing that over to the third, he could have completely denied that third base.
I mean, to be fair though, like there's more chance of the Zealot being guaranteed cleaned up, because there's no way the Zealot can ever get to safety that way, whereas now at least like he has some more control over the game. But it does lose potential in slowing down the third, but I think it makes the game state much less flimsy for him, and he's losing his scout probe, so having no vision, he'd much rather have the Zealot alive now, given this game state. So yeah, it's a little bit dangerous, because you never quite know what's going to be coming from action, and a lot of action could be coming in the way of like tons of Zerglings and what have you barreling down on natural. As far as Stork knows, there is a decent amount of Zerglings, but nothing too crazy, so Stork's going to play super safe and wait until he gets some cannons up before even thinking about checking what's what again.
I think this position is not too bad for Stork. He only built a couple of Zealots, didn't lose any of them, lost a couple of probes, of course, with the scout, but he's got the wall, he's got the complete ling-tight space here with the 1 cannon in behind. Action is going to 973 him, though.
Yeah.
Most likely. And you can very quickly die. This is a strong build at every single level. And if you don't get out and scout... Yeah, if you don't get out and scout, and there's really not much chance of Stork doing that for a little bit of time, because there could be some sort of Ling attack, he could just die. Absolutely could just die to this.
Yeah, if there's one or two of you not in the know, 973 basically means you got 9 drones mining minerals in your main, 7 in your natural, 3 in your third base. That's the optimal amount to make a very strong production of 3 hatchery worth of Hydralisks to try and bowl the Protoss player before he's got enough cannons set up in the early game. Sometimes you can also kind of fake that and kind of bluff it and do a transition into a normal game, but just use that to apply pressure to kill the wall and to force the Protoss player into over making too many cannons, because each cannon they make is essentially a gateway they're not producing. So a little bit of a power scale tipping balance here, where both players are trying to like either commit to the attack and kill him, or make it look as like, you know, convincing as possible to force too much of a reaction.
Backup cannon being built by Stork now. He's got 1 extra cannon at the back. May end up building another one. He's got 1 probe ready for this. The Hydras have been hidden quite well. There's another cannon. Okay, so he is aware that there's this possibility. And making that extra cannon, will he He would cancel that if no Hydras arrive, but now that he sees the Hydras, he's just going to let that finish. Another cannon will start. He's building these quite far back from the wall, so it seems like he's just resigned to the fact that he may end up losing this forge, and he's just going to transition out of that, probably build 2 forges in the main.
Yeah, I think if he made cannons too far forward, he'd be at risk of being busted, and that's what he's scared about, so he'd much rather just sacrifice the front and like get a guaranteed line of cannons in the back here. If he had maybe one more cannon already set up at the bottom, he might have considered putting forward cannons, but yeah, he only had 2 cannons in a good position, so it was just not worth to recommit to the wall. That makes sense. So just break the wall and like make a couple of forges in your main base and just resign to it. It's unfortunate, but I agree with Stork's decision here. I think it's good that he's making this compensation.
Yeah, this makes sense. He's definitely going to be okay from this spot. Evolution Chamber starts, so we actually might see a scenario where Action is ahead on upgrades.
Right.
But Stork's going to start Double Forge in his main right away. Drones are being made back at home for Action. He's going up into 6-hatch Hydra. This is about as standard as standard gets when it comes to Zerg versus Protoss. Just killing the wall, switching into Spire. Everything looking pretty even after this initial opener.
Yeah, I would recommend like all Zerg players learn this build and learn how to transition and commit to this build so that you have a more fundamental understanding of how this matchup works, because the way the timings of this build line up does teach you a lot about PvZ. And if you can also then start to understand how you transition and like the different points of transitional weakness in your builds and the build variations, it will teach you so much about the game. So I really recommend this build for everyone.
Yeah, it's a build that can get you some pretty easy wins as well when you're struggling against Protoss. If the Protoss is not able to or not willing to build enough cannons,
right?
Not able to scout you, then you can get some good easy wins. But
it has the
it can be a pretty challenging.
It has the highest win percentage out of all the other builds.
It can be kind of challenging to pull off if you are trying to transition as well, like getting the Hydras into position to hit the wall in without being hit by the cannons, and then defending against the Corsair at the same time, building up your drone count and switching into upgrades and macro.
Yeah,
it is quite challenging, but that's what this matchup is all about, is balancing and reacting to what your opponent is doing and the pressure that he's able to put on. And so far, Action's doing a fantastic job of that. He's blocked the Corsairs, he's blocked the Zealots from coming across the map and dealing any damage to him. Is he going to have Lurkers in time for this next push that's going to come? Dark Archon.
Yeah. We've been seeing this a lot. Yeah, we've been seeing this a lot lately, right? I think it is starting to become the meta. I mean, I'm sure Tasteless is happy because like years and years ago, he was always saying like, "Oh, Dark Archon's so good, man! Like you can just like Maelstrom and your mutas and stuff." Now all the pro gamers are starting to catch on and actually do that a little bit more consistently. Well, we have seen it in the past. It's not like it was his idea or anything, but certainly maybe a little bit more of an underused unit. Not as bad as maybe something like a Queen is. Maybe has a little bit more value in certain situations than otherwise. But yeah, I don't know. Like we might not see a commitment into mutas from Action to make full value out of this Archon, especially now that it's probably been spotted by these mutalists. He's going to swing into the main base and maybe even catch this High Templar in transition as well.
He's splitting off the mutas to make sure that the Dark Archon can't get maximum value. I love it. Doesn't get the Templar kill, but doesn't lose all of these mutas either. He's still got them available to try and jump in. More mutas are popping out, so maybe more of a trend, or more of a commitment than we thought.
Yeah.
Actually going to rotate around and potentially fly in as the Protoss army moves out on the map. Maybe go for some Templar that are following, or maybe just dive into the main, try to deal some damage there. Hydras are spread out all over the map looking for straggler Zealots as he builds up a huge amount of drones. Wow, massive drone wave comes out. Going to be saturating that 4th base.
I like to see it, Sam.
I don't see a transition though from Action. I don't see a Hive play or anything in his near future.
No,
I think it's just going to be straight up layer, man.
You don't need to transition into Hive until they've got their 3rd base secured. And this entire time, Stork's been on 2 base, so he's been happy just to stay on Battle Zerg and optimize his economy and army. and then he focuses on tech only when he's forced to.
So this is exactly what I was thinking was going to happen. As soon as the army moves out, the mutas fly into the main base. He turns away at the last moment, seeing 3 cannons though. And that's understandable. 3 cannons. If there was one storm hidden somewhere, one Templar hidden under one of those buildings, you can lose everything really quickly. So he's just going to back off for now and start to set up a position that's going to be hard for Stork to push out of. Hydras are spread everywhere. Hydras are ready for backstabs, for attempts at running in and picking off some of these Templar as well. Action has so much vision on the map. He's ready for this. Stork is completely blind right now.
Stork is kind of counting on this heavy fortress setup with this cross base at 3 o'clock, but the reality is his natural expansion's exposed. He can get his rally cut off and like use units that are in transit and basically become surrounded and engulfed. Like we see the mutas coming into the natural expansion and checking what's what, seeing if they can snipe any high Templars or what have you. Does need to be careful because the Dark Archon is still out on the board, so Maelstrom combo could still be a threat here to these Mutalisks, so Action will want to be careful and just try and keep Stork on these 3 bases for as long as possible. I don't think he's too worried about the 3 bases. He'll just let him have it and slowly tech into Hive now. We saw the Queen's Nest coming down at 12 o'clock just a minute ago or so, so Hive will be on the way now. He'll be probably just trying to get a 5th base online, and he'll only probably force a trade with Stork if Stork either gets out of position on the map or tries to take a 4th.
I think we're going to see that 4th taken pretty soon from Stork. He's got a big army moving through the middle. Has a lot of storms. He's been building up storms the entire game. I don't think we've seen any storms thrown down as of yet. So these Templars that were made earlier on, they don't have the amulet upgrade yet, but they are looking very... Oh wait, we did see a couple of storms, sorry, thrown down on some lurkers a little bit earlier. So some of those were spent, but they've regained a lot of that energy, and this army is... It's looking a little bit out of position. What do you think, Shun? Moving through the left-hand side?
Yeah.
Are we going to get completely surrounded? Stork is pretty far out on the map right now.
He will do better than you think he will do, but it's still a little bit of a weird decision, but it will pay off a little bit initially. It's just what will happen next will be the deciding factor. There's not enough storm here to keep him alive for very long. Like, he'll keep the Zerg back for like a minute or so, like skirmishing with the Zerg, and what he was hoping to do was to try and surprise Action by pouncing on one of these bases at the top left here, see if he can get the snipe on that, or at least get some drone kills. But he knows the danger. He's going to run with his tail between his legs a little bit, try and see if he can distract Action with these Zealots maybe on the right hand side, while he now pushes back once again with this army into this northwestern threshold. See if he can get up into that pocket, maybe kill base. Beautiful storm going down onto that trio of lurkers there. I don't know, like maybe there's enough meat in this Protoss infantry that he could actually go the distance here. There's enough Dragoons to kind of just like rain down phase disruption shots, but not enough storm left in the tank, so eventually these forces are going to get completely obliterated. There's one or two more good storms coming out with some Zealot reinforcements. Stork's just barely holding the line, but he's already been whittled down so much in his Dragoon count. The 2-1 upgrades from those Hydralisk timing really paying dividends now for Action here, as he's trading very cost efficiently despite a few storms going not his way.
It was almost a reasonable hold there from Stork, but he ends up running away with a meager army. Hardly enough to even defend a 4th base if you wanted to take one right now, and Action is going to be accelerating into Hive Tech. He's got those upgrades rolling really, really well now, and he should have Defilers on the map before long, with masses of units popping out every second. Oh, the 4th base is already under assault. He is going to get up here and probably defend that. Yeah, he will keep this alive. But Stork is under so much pressure, man. I really wish he wouldn't have pushed so cavalier onto the left-hand side of the map, or if he had at least like fully committed to get up onto one of these high grounds, so that the defense, like the position is so hard to break that Action wastes a lot of units.
I think I know why he did it. I think he knows that Action was playing ABC, in the sense of like Action was like choosing not to engage because there was no 4th base, and Stork knew that Action was trying to avoid engagement, so Stork was trying to force him to engage by, quotations, putting his army out of position to kind of bait him into attacking him. Like, I think he was trying to force the engagement, it just didn't go the way he thought it would.
These Zealots going down is kind of symptomatic of the game state and what we've seen so far out of Stork. He's thrown away a lot of zealots. The engage that we saw initially was pretty poor in terms of him just sending in his zealots against a lot of lurkers, and he lost so much of the front line of his army. Now we've got Dark Swarm with a big flank coming forward. Action's going to completely surround and annihilate this force. This is excellent, excellent control out of him.
Wow.
Ling's coming from the reinforcement path. Great Maelstrom plus Storm combo, but it's not going to be enough. Every single Templar is going to go down.
Yeah.
All of the important parts of the army for Stork have vanished, and with only 20 supply, with a full 20 supply advantage from Action,
Man, it's crazy.
he should be able to kill this.
It's crazy how these Zerg players have this level of macro. Like, certain players like Action just have a different level of like macro gear they can kick into, and the amount of units they can churn out is just scary. And it's like, if they were even slightly worse at macroing, they barely wouldn't have enough units to flank and like kill everything off, but they always manage to reach critical mass. It's a really beautiful thing to see, saying like a Zerg firing all cylinders like this.
For sure. This is Action at his absolute best, where nothing has truly gone wrong in this game. He's just been able to macro like a god. He will be taking a lot of damage to this DT, it seems, because he's paying attention to pushing into this fourth base and preventing that from really coming online. So 8 kills, 10 kills, it's a lot of damage in that base, but there's just so many bases available for Action, and this fourth is likely to fall. I don't know that it's going to matter. 14 kills on that DT now is pretty insane.
I mean, it gives comeback potential. So if he can somehow get a scrappy hold going and not take too much probe losses to these lurkers under Dark Swarms and prevent any Zerg reinforcements getting up here and distract Action long enough that he can't just rally units across the map and finish the job. He is trying to go for that, though. He's identified that this is a big point of weakness for Stork now. There's hardly any units in defense. Very easy to come in and reinforce this mineral-only base assault that's already in operation with Dark Swarms that are just about to run out. Really crazy effort here from Action. Like, he's just been able to absolutely decimate someone of Stork's caliber, like made it look easy. Like, and it's really nice to see like Zergs somehow being able to produce this much. Like, I don't even know how their hands move in such a way to macro like this.
Action clears out that fourth base. That's a really big key thing going on in this game. Drop landing in the main base. 4 zealots are going to go to work on some tech potentially. But Action, I mean, all of the chips are in his favor. All the cards have just fallen perfectly into place. And even though the spawning pool will likely go down, it's small. It's a very small win for Stork, who's already so far behind. I mean, 40 supply advantage. What can we say? Action is moments away from closing this one out.
Yeah, Stork is basically just like trying to pull any cards from the deck that are his outs. He knows there's a few things that can like kind of stall for time. Like, you know, he knows there's like 1 or 2 options he still has to kind of stall out the game a tiny bit, but none of these options lead to him winning the game. They just lead to him GGing a few moments later. But now is the time for finally to type those 2 letters, and instead it's going to be Action going up against Light next. Like, I'm blown away by like how clean that was from Action. Hey, I need to grab a drink.
Yeah.
I'm back.
All right.
All right, partner. Keep on rolling, baby. You know what time it is.
Okay, I got this re-upload ready.
Oh, yeah. Oh, don't forget to cross off the name on the thing if you haven't already. Don't forget to cross off stalk. Next, we've got lights, camera, action. You can use that pun if you want for your intro.
I'd rather not. That's all you, Muddy. Oh, gosh. All right.
All right.
Wait, what happened? What happened to the score?
This didn't happen. You mean what happened to your little, you know?
There it is.
There you go.
Disappeared.
Yeah.
All right.
경우가 또 있거든요. 미친 정도가 있는데 이게 그 미친 저그라고 하는 게 여러분들 뭐냐면 약간 그 처음 보시는 또 뭐 잘 모르실 수 있는 분들을 위해서 살짝 설명을 해드리자면
On to light versus action. We got light in the top left-hand corner. Action down in the bottom left. Finally, on Deja Vu.
보통은 이제 뮤탈리스크 이후에 삼가스
I know I said that game number 2, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Or
I think
was it
Deja
game number
Vu
1?
You saying that is Deja Vu. Deja Vu
correct.
Inception.
미친 저그는
Deja Vu squared. We've got a wall-in started here for light, and before you even say it, for pool.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Tell me how. Right. Now, I just want to ask everyone in the chat, okay? Like, seriously. Every game you watch how many times the Terran walls in, and how many times, if the Zerg player had gone for pool, with, you know what I'm saying? Like, just calculate that, and then be like, oh my god, he's right.
I'm glad that you gave them the question and also the conclusion there, Shun.
I have
That's
to
very
lead
helpful.
them into the right way. You know, these sausage monkeys, I mean, some of them, you know, like, some, don't get me wrong, some of you guys are the really bright sparks, but some of you guys, like, I don't know, man, I'm surprised, like, you guys manage to, like, take an expansion sometimes.
벌써 어떻게 하려 하는지 그건 모르죠 아직까지는.
There's some dim bulbs out there for sure in every community. I think there's more bright lights though in StarCraft than most,
That's true.
for sure. It takes a special type of person to even realize what they're looking at when they see a game this beautiful.
Nah, that's true. That's true. I mean, I guess you could make the argument that some of them just had dumb luck, though, and they just stumbled upon the best game, and they just happened to be indoctrinated into it. I mean, that's what I think happened to me. I don't think I was smart enough to realize it was that good initially. I think I kind of just got lucky and stumbled upon the best game ever made, and it all just kind of went uphill from there.
그렇게 이제 깨친 적이라고 표현을 했었는데 오히려 시대를
That's very insightful of you. That's very modest of you, Shun.
Yeah, I'm the most modest person ever, as Trump would say.
아시네요. 자 그래도 시작.
Oh boy.
선스포닝 풀이어가지고 김성대
Light's about to throw down his command center, and action is getting into a very normal opener.
상태에서 마린을
I think he did go for overpool though, with these lings out so early.
마린을
Putting a little pressure on, but not really able to do much. He didn't build as many lings as we saw Queen build.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be in as bad of a position, but he doesn't see the Marines moving across the map.
He doesn't have the light.
5 naked Marines.
It's
6 naked Marines.
Lights,
Dangerous.
Camera, action, saying it's light versus darkness, unfortunately. And without that light, it's going to be action unprepared here as the Marines start to surge into natural expansion. Drones not even able to get to the safety of the main base as they might be killed in transit. So more drones coming from the south to see if they can set up a pincer surround. More and more drones now going to be coming out, trying to get on top of these Marines before they can make it to the bunker as it starts to finish up. Does drill behind the mineral line, getting a beautiful slide onto those Marines, and the damage is just barely enough to start cleaning up all of these Marines before they can get into this bunker as the SUVs also die. So pretty good hold here from action, all things considering. I don't think he lost too many drones there. Oh, he's only got 3 in the main.
I think he lost too many.
I think he lost too many. I thought he had a few more in the main. Okay, that's a little bit too many. My bad.
Oh, man.
Oh, it's a little bit
The
rough.
position was so nice from Light. He even pulled the SUV off the bunker, stopped making it, just to get a little bit more damage, or get a little bit more, blocking going with the SUV. And the damage was pretty insane. The counter could be strong, but with this wall back at home, you're really not going to be able to do much, especially with the SUV in the wall.
If he had just like 2 or 3 more drones, I think, like, unironically, he'd be fine and be able to do a very strong 2-hatch muter timing, which would actually punish Light a little bit, because he wouldn't have enough Marines and turrets and what have you to defend the initial mutalisks. But because he just barely killed enough drones in that and there was enough lost mining time, it seems like we won't have that critical mass timing that we need from action to punish Light. So I think Light's going to get away with murder here.
Yeah, this is similar to the Queen versus Royal game at the beginning of the cast, where the Zerg player's taken some damage. They just haven't got a good stable footing in the game, and Light is the type of player, just like Royal, who knows exactly how to punish. He knows exactly how to eke out even more damage and force more reactions, take control of the game, and never give you a really good opportunity to come back. Now, he is going to start some turrets. He just canceled one of his barracks because he realized, oh crap, you actually got your Spire down during all of that aggression that was going on with the Marines, and he realizes that action may be just going all in with mutas from this spot.
That's the play that I thought might be able to give him the best comeback potential, but I feel like he just barely doesn't have enough juice because of I think even just 2 more drones, and I think he'd come in here and smash Light. But literally, just 1 or 2 drones, not enough to come in here and hit the critical timing. Like, it's just too little, too late, unfortunately, for action. I do think that Light's going to be able to stabilize.
You can't even mine gas. Oh my goodness. Are we going to see a 3rd base come up? I think so.
Yeah.
What's the follow-up from that, though? Are we going to see Crazy Zerg, like Queen tried to pull off?
Yes, most likely. It makes sense. Like, it makes sense that he's cutting muters now because he knows he can't do any critical damage anyway, so you might as well just make nothing but drones and take a 3rd and just play for the mid-game. It makes sense from action. I don't fault him at all for his decision-making.
Right. That's quite a few drones. Light's getting a scan there, and then naturally he knows what's happening, that there must be some sort of transition coming, so he's going to start his factory immediately. Good reactions so far from Light. He hasn't been able to put on any more pressure, but he's going to move out now, and there's not a lot that action can do against this. He's really going to struggle to stop this Marine force coming across the map. And it'll be a lot of indirect damage probably being done to action, and that he's going to be forced to make a huge amount of units or a bunch of sunken colonies to keep himself alive.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to make sunkens because then the sunkens can't help save the 3rd. So it's like you kind of want to make muters and lings to clear this up. So you're kind of mostly reliant on Mutalisk Micro to shave off as many Marines as possible to, prevent needing to make too many sunkens and lings and what have you. I don't know how good his Mutalisk Micro will end up being, but I don't know. Like, the main issue is that because he did the drone transition into the 3rd without making too many mutalisks, now we have a much larger biomass for him to have to contend with, so it's much harder for him to skirmish and shave off a few Marines here and there.
So we're not going to see crazy quick ultras from action. He is going to a transition into Lurker. So a more standard approach from Action. As he dives into this main base, he's going to kill 2 turrets with Lings running by the bunker as well. Nothing inside there. He could do a lot of damage in this main base. He's forced Light to turn around and head back home. This is a huge swing. If this continues,
Yeah.
Action is going to get a whole bunch more damage. Wait, where is he going with the mutas? Okay, he sees the Marines are coming back. He was afraid that those Marines might be heading for his natural, so he turned those around for a second, and that's going to buy Light enough time to come back in here and stabilize.
No, there was 3 Marines that got siphoned off to come down into this bottom base in the bottom right here. I don't think there's any drones made there, so luckily, because Action didn't have enough money to support making units and drones at the same time, like, he's not going to get punished too heavily down there. He'll be able to send some Zerglings to save that hatchery, I believe. Just purely focused on trying to shave off as many of these Marines as possible. He knows there's too much of a mass here. If he doesn't shave off enough of these Marines, he could just be in a dangerous spot. So he's trying as hard as he can to micro. He's doing a pretty good job of shaving off really good connections here with these Mutalisks. I'm really impressed with the control, but suddenly these Mutalisks falling. Some Lings coming into support. They might... Nah, it's just barely not... I thought there was more Lings coming than that. Unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be enough in it for Action. I think he's going to have to try and just transition.
He built a lot of sunken colonies back at home. This natural full of sunken colonies and really nothing else to defend. Hardly any Mutalisks left. Barely any drones at all, and none in the bottom right. This is looking dire for Action. He's still continuing to produce mutas, and he will tap out. GG. Action just can't put it together. It felt like Light might have been close to defeat there for a moment, though, when the mutas were in the main base dealing damage. If only Action had stayed, just killed the turrets with the Lings and mutas and gone to work on a lot more SCV kills, he may have been able to bring himself back, but he was afraid of just straight up dying. Sometimes you have to make those hard choices, though, right?
It's
like, you have to just take a gamble, dive in,
But he made the third base to do that. He only made the third base to make sure that the Terran move out would occur, so that then he would have an opportunity to go into the main base for that in the first place. So he had that completely mapped out originally. Yeah, that's why he didn't even make any drones at this third base. So it was really well planned out from Action. It's just the execution wasn't there, considering the fact that he lost 1 or 2 drones too many in that defense at the start. Just didn't have enough gas in the tank to really punish like that. But I like the game plan.
Okay. Well, Zerg goes out first.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't expect it. But this is the thing. I feel weird about it because even though Action lost, I actually kind of like how he played from that weird game state. I like his decision making. I think that was okay.
That was pretty crazy when he had to pull like every drone to fight that Marine clump behind the natural.
Yeah. That was a rough situation.
That was wild,
man. Honestly, like, a lot of Zergs, I think, would have lost a lot more drones than he did. I think he held it pretty well, considering like how bad that could have gone.
No, it could have gone so bad. Six Marines is so much DPS. Yeah, that's scary. That's really scary.
It's almost a drone a second damage worth of coming at you. Yeah.
It's gnarly. All right, the final game. Let me just grab something quickly here. Be right back.
Hey, get your hand off my leg. He's trying to cop a feel, guys. Can you imagine if, like, Sane and I were, like, actually at, like, a casting desk at an event, and, like, while he was casting with me, we were just, like, playing footsies under the table, trying to distract each other. It's like, while he's talking, I'm, like, shimmying my foot over to him, you know? He's doing the same to me. I don't think I would ever do that to someone unless it was like prearranged that it was okay though. I wouldn't want to like just start like bothering someone while they're trying to cast. It'd be super mean.
All right, I'm back.
Jean, let's go.
맵 선택권이기 때문에 사실 김태훈 선수가 약간은 기분 좋다. 약간 이 정도로 봐주시면 될 것 같고 김태훈 선수가 킥백을 꺼낸 이유가 있을 거예요. 사실 킥백이란 맵 자체가 생더블 시작하기도 좋고.
Here we are in the final game of the night, Light versus Bisu. An excellent way to end. And guys, before we go, I want to remind you to go down into the description, click on the first link, give KCM a like and a sub. That'll link you over to the video in Korean. So give him some of your support and give him some thanks for putting on such an excellent tournament. It's been such a fun season this time, Shun.
Yeah, I think we've had some pretty exciting weeks, pretty much back-to-back, very interesting seasons. You never quite know what you're going to get. It's literally like a box of chocolates from Forrest Gump, KCM, and in the best way as well. You never quite know where things are gonna, where the terrain will look like once the cookies have all been crumbled down onto it. You don't really know what's going to be what. And each week you might have some craziness happening that you wouldn't even thought that you would formulate those sentences in your brain ever, like stalk all kills, like blah blah blah, or whatever the equation is. Like, just absolute mind bender of a event to have to be it, and it's a real treat as well.
Yeah, for sure. It adds something to the enjoyment of ASL as well. I believe that wholeheartedly, and we get to see the level of these players and the strategies implemented on the maps that they're going to be playing in the biggest tournament in the world as well.
Yeah,
it adds that little extra level of excitement to the game and what's going to be brought out in the ASL. So over here from Light, starting things off with a bit of a wall. It's not fully walled in like you would against Zerg, but He's set up a position that's going to give him a lot of options for defense against the Zealot that's coming across the map. He's also got the bunker done. So this Zealot probably won't do anything, especially if he blocks with the SCV. He even brings the SCV forward, ready for that block. Bisu just pulling back immediately. The probe still alive in the main base, unfortunately, getting some scouting information. But Light will deal with that here in a moment. A good opener so far from Light. What do you expect out of him on kickback? Because it's such a wild map.
Yeah, it is such a wild map. It's honestly very hard to say. It's very difficult for Terran players to deal with Protoss on this map, so I wouldn't be too surprised if he tries something a little bit crazy here. We are seeing a reasonably quick command center being thrown down, like we would expect, given kickback has so much economic potential for Protoss. You kind of do need to think of a way of either being cheesy or greedy as a Terran in one way or another. And it seems like we're going to be going a little bit more to the greedy side of things. I can't really say I blame him, but I don't know exactly what he's going to be following this up with. Light's very known for going for vulture drop, so he might commit to that, or he might know that it's such a likely thing for him to do that there's no way it would work against Bisu here, so he might not do that entirely and go for like just some crazy strong 2-base, like 5 factory or 6 factory push timing. I don't know.
Look at that. Skipping the range, getting into a Nexus and a Robo. Bisu playing kind of greedy with the way that he's opening. It could pay off, though, because Light is also getting into his natural and not planning to put on any early aggression. There's the range started now. And so Bisu, with the closeness of these bases, like the vertical rush distance is not that far. Bisu might be able to get in right before turrets with a shuttle and maybe deal a little bit of damage.
I think he might be able to do that. It does look like there's a starport that's going to be on the way, so it might be that vulture drop. Never mind. Whoa. Now here's the thing. This map is very good for Wraiths. So this makes sense. This makes a lot of sense, and I'm really excited to see this from Light. We're going to be seeing the Wraith style, and this is something that, who knows, we might be seeing this more in the meta in the future if players can figure this out a bit more. But just so you know, guys, Wraiths are actually pretty good against Protoss. It's just very situational, and like you need to know what you're doing.
I don't think he's seen that shuttle play is coming, that Reaver's coming, but this is the perfect build to do this against.
Yeah.
If he was going for just 3-gate goon with Observer, this gets smashed. Like there's nothing that the Wraiths can do aside from little bits of probe damage here and there until the goons are all in place. And then once the goons are in the mineral lines, there's nothing you can do.
Which is why you see a lot of Protoss players just go for that 3-gate ob style, because it's such a cookie-cutter, safest way of playing Protoss. But most Protoss players don't play that style. They want to play either a little bit greedy, a little bit cheesy, or some other kind of variation thereof. So you don't usually see that 3-gate ob style, even though it's the safest way of playing. So maybe this is a way you can catch Protoss players off guard if they're not playing too safe and standard.
We don't have any Wraiths out yet. Okay, there's the 2 Wraiths. But the drop will still get off, I believe, into this natural. 1 Zealot pops out. Oh, he gets the Reaver onto the ground. Okay, can he get a big shot? All right, 2 kills. Not bad. Another 2 kills, I think.
5.
And
total.
1 more.
6 total.
5, 6 kills. Wow, okay. That's enough. That's good enough.
It's reasonable.
I mean, he loses everything, but 6 kills... Very, very decent. The Wraiths were supposed to block that completely if Light wanted to be ahead.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Like, there is a world where he tries to, like, unload the shuttle, and it unloads the Zealots first, and the Reaver just barely doesn't get out in time. So he was kind of hoping for that, but didn't manage to secure, unfortunately. He will be able to put on a little bit of pressure with these cloaked Wraiths, though. It's a little bit annoying for these slow observers to catch up to those, so they can fly around and do a little bit of finessing to both keep Bisu pinned back and also kind of trip him up in his macro cycles a little bit once in a while when he forces him to have to react to these Wraiths running around and being annoying.
One thing that I always hear from... Oh, okay. Killing off the Observer was a good move.
Yep.
Hey, he's going to get a few probes out of this. 2 so far. There's the Observer. Does he have a scan for that? He's going to switch over to this third base. No probes are present, so can't really do too much with that. He scans, he sees the Observer, is going to back away. I was about to say that whenever I'm playing as Zerg, people always ask me, like, oh, why don't you just build a Spore against these Wraiths? But, you know, Spores are not nearly as powerful or cheap when it comes to air defense as a cannon. You just throw a cannon down in your mineral line. As a Protoss player, you've got money for that, no problem.
Right.
You don't have to sacrifice a probe to do it, and you've got way more probes than the Zerg player will have in a situation like this. So dropping cannons in every mineral line it's completely necessary and should be the go-to for Bisu. It won't be long before every mineral line is completely defended, just purely by static D.
Well, he will try to avoid that because there's a chance that Light doesn't commit into this and he's only going to make like 3 to 5 and never make any more. And Bisu knows that's a possibility, so he probably will avoid making cannons. But as he sees 1 or 2 more wraiths being added on, he may start to make those cannons.
Yeah, it's got 1 in the main, 1 at the third. Or 1 at the natural, excuse me. The third should have a cannon on the way now. 4th base is already coming up. But Light sitting here on kickback. This is the reason why he did this build on kickback, right?
Yeah.
He can take this third base, no problem. If he was on any other map, taking a third would be impossible with the current position. He just doesn't have enough tanks. Doesn't have enough units to hold on to that. So flying back in, he's going to get about 4 or 5 probes. Not bad at all.
Right.
This is some very good damage with these Wraiths, but
very nice.
Is it going to be enough?
No, I think it is. I think this is a really nice amount of damage. It's not like game-ending damage or anything, but this might be enough to like stabilize the game state for Light to be much more comfortable and just like, you know, push into that free factory, get his stuff rolling, and then put out a much more stronger mid game than he was maybe looking to be having previously. Like, he's not in a great position by any stretch of the word. Oh, he needs to be careful with these reavers. Does get 2 shots, two kills with that, but now that the shuttle's dead in the water, we just need to, you know, kill this Reaver cost efficiently, and we're going to be sitting pretty here for Light. But a little bit lost mining time does hurt him a bit here.
Yeah, that slows him down just slightly, but not having to build any turrets is another big factor. You gotta imagine that, you know, all that build time on the SCVs, building the turrets and then being sent back to work. The money that went into a normal game with a whole bunch of turrets defending against speed shuttles coming in. That's something as well. You can't just completely count that out.
Right.
On the other side, though, that's a lot of gas that was spent into raids, so the tank count's going to be lower. Now he's building the turrets quite a bit later, of course, but he will eventually need some turrets in order to keep this defense.
But also, if Light's like on top of his rave control, like the lack of turrets kind of baits you into like maybe making a mistake and then him potentially killing your shuttle for free or something. So it gives him a lot of potential EV as well, because you're more likely to like be a bit too overly eager knowing that there's no turrets.
Right. 2 more shuttles flying around the map. I'm surprised to see Bisu still making mass shuttle. Even though we have all these wraiths, but I guess it's just strong in basically any situation. These wraiths are going to reveal themselves by hitting the pylon. I would actually shy away from even killing a pylon like this. It's nice to kill a pylon, but the pylon is paying for itself just by revealing where the wraiths are at.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah,
good.
so-
It's definitely good that he's at least built the turrets before doing this. But I agree, like, there's a chance that if the shuttle was near, maybe he could have just gone in for like a storm drop or whatever it would have been. You know what I mean? Like right at that moment when he knows the wraiths are pinned down and occupied over there, he can storm drop the other base.
That's right. Base in the top left-hand corner, taking another main is incredibly important on this map. Most of the bases around on these high grounds in 12, 6, 9, and 3 have limited minerals. They're only 1,200 minerals, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes.
1,200 minerals per patch, which means that they mine out way faster
Right.
and so they won't have that longevity as a normal base would have on a normal map. And taking another one of these, 1500 mineral bases is going to give Bisu that long life that he needs to eventually weather down this Terran player who's sitting on 3 bases, with 2 of them being just those 1200.
Yeah. Now, depending
mineral patch
on
bases.
how well you saturate those bases, that could be 5 minutes faster, or it could be maybe like 6 or 7 minutes faster if you really oversaturate the bases. It does make a big difference.
The Wraiths are moving out on the map now. 4 of them. If they find these shuttles randomly out on the map, it could be some insane damage. He's actually flying through the middle. He's not cloaked.
Yeah.
And so he won't be able to, just run around randomly here and potentially find those. 2 probes going to go down as they transfer over to the top left. Great snipe on a Templar, using them like mutas.
Yeah.
Picking off Templar in this army that's moving out. And Bisu, most of his Templar are in shuttles, but some of them have to be on the ground. There's just not enough shuttles to pick everything up, and losing those few Templar is going to be a serious pain. Now, Light has 150 supply. He could move out and try to take a 4th, and I think that's what he's about to do. But Bisu is poised, ready for this move out, and could dive upon this and just wipe out this army if he gets the right storms.
Well, Light has just finished his EMP, so this is like the golden opportunity for him to engage. If he can get a money EMP on this clump of units, maybe it'll be an easy fight for him. But so far, huge Zealot bombs maybe coming in the back line. Beautiful spread on these tanks, though, making this not very effective. Pretty good storm on the northern threshold, makes short work of the tank's position there. And now Bisu goes to work on trying to cleave through the tank line. Zealots are still in a high enough number that the Dragoons can still rain down phase disruption shots. Now finally the infantry has been diminished, that now the Dragoons will start to fall to the siege tank arc-light cannons. But honestly, like, this trade probably went pretty good for Light, more than the Bisu was hoping for. But Bisu inversely knows that he's killed so many of Light's tanks that it's going to be so difficult for Light to come out onto the map and challenge him.
I think Light's got to make a move now, though. He's got to push out and take this 4th.
He has to go quick.
No real choice.
Has to go
because
quick.
Bisu is going to macro out another insane army before you know it. And he's got gateways over there in the top left as well, so he's just got so much production rolling. Light has mere moments before his bases start to mine out, so he has to get this online. But there's really no way for him to push across the map and deal any damage to Bisu. Just getting the 4th base will have to be compensation enough.
I mean, the stars could be aligning and we could have had like vultures intercepting these probes running across the map and have like a few like glimmers of hope here for Light. But I mean, even that wouldn't be enough to necessarily secure a win, but it would be like a little bit of hope here for him. As it stands, it's looking a little bit rough. He's barely got enough supply to not die, but because it's a non-traditional map with only the 1200 in the mineral fields of these natural and third base here, like, unfortunately, like, these bases are literally about to dry up right here, right now. Like, usually they'd be drying up in like 4 or 5 minutes time, but now they're going to be diminishing at this moment when he needs them most.
I think Light's main goal this game is going to be try to take bottom left. I don't think he's going to have a real opportunity to push. He's slowly getting that supply back up. 154 is just barely enough, maybe to hold on against the maxed army, depending on how Bisu engages. The tanks are looking very nicely spread out, and so it'll be hard for him to get, big storms on the army like Stort got on speed or anything like that. So let's see how this engagement goes. Oh, Templars get picked off immediately. That's not a good start to this attack.
I don't think Bisu. I think Bisu's like realized, hang on a minute, I've just let him take a 4th base here because I can't attack into that, and he's already secured enough of a lane to defend his 4th. So Bisu's going to swing around to the other end of the tank line here to see if he can break through that end. Maybe there's a few mines here, but not that many units. Finally, the fluidity of Light's army shuffles over to reinforce, gunning down some of these shuttles as they're inbound. Beautiful storms coming up in preemptive D-matrix, going to be making it very difficult to break through those initial tank formations, but I don't think there's going to be enough here for Light to necessarily win this fight. But he technically will live, and if he can live and hold on to this 4th base, he's technically not out of the game.
Yeah, it looks like he should live. And a nice little mine connection there to finish off that attack. Bisu falls back. His remax is going to be incredibly fast. He has lots of money in the bank. As long, you said oh my gosh, I let Light take a 4th base. That realization from Bisu. It's not as big of a deal though.
Right.
In this map. It is of course frustrating, but we've already mined out the natural. The natural is gone for Light.
Yeah.
His 3rd base is getting low, and his 4th is not going to last long. So he just needs to delay a little bit longer. Don't allow Light to get down into the bottom left, though. If he allows Light to just get over there because he's busy dealing with these vultures, he's really going to regret that situation. Light's going to get up on high ground and have a bunch of tanks over that natural, and then he's going to have half the map, and that's a real problem.
This is why I said that's why it's an oh no situation for Bisu, because like it's not an oh no right now, but it's like a oh no if he does manage to translate this 4th base into a split map position. I've literally thrown the game. If that happens, it is very difficult for that to go without a hitch. Does manage to get a beautiful storm drop coming on this SUV train. The pullout was just quickly enough that he's not going to lose. Does get the shuttle as well, so manages to prevent any compensation from Bisu. Does take a lot of damage to all those SUVs, so the following storm drop will probably like kill the entire train. So any further attempts from Bisu might have a big payoff, but he needs to come in here and actually accomplish that. There are still wraiths out on the field, so potentially the shuttle will be denied even getting entry here.
Yeah, it would have to be quite a dive for Bisu to get into that back line now. There's so much spread of Terran in front of that base, so I doubt that he's going to be able to dive in there. Bunch of shuttles coming forward. He's going to go right on top of these tanks. The 3 Goliaths are not able to 2-shot, but they're taking out the shuttles pretty quickly. Only a couple of storms get out, and dude, Light is going to hold this with flying colors.
This is what I thought would happen, saying.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I thought would happen, saying. This is why I was worried for Bisu. And yeah, he waited for the 3-2 upgrades to kick in and thought that would be enough to make the difference. But it doesn't matter because Light's on curve with his own upgrades. 3-2 for him as well. And he's been trading really exceptionally this entire game and resetting the infantry of Bisu in such a way that Bisu's never been able to have enough to fight him head on. And he's been able to shuffle over his position more and more to the west. Now he's got this base starting to become split in the map, and this will be a situation that was very winnable for Light, and maybe even in a situation where he doesn't even need to attack, he just needs to defend, maintain game state, and split the map in half and just hold what he's got.
Yeah, I was looking so dire for Light for a moment there as Bisu continued to smash army after army, but that final fight, or that last fight that we saw, was so one-sided. It's crazy how much it changed from the previous fight to that fight. It just completely flipped on its head. One moment it was pretty much even trading, and then the next moment it's completely one-sided, and Light is just dominating. And now more shuttles coming in, trying to deny a base over here, but the Wraith control is fantastic. Just going to pick off these shuttles as they fly in. Only a couple of zealots popped out, and those can be easily dealt with. The late game potential of this Wraith play is looking fantastic for Light.
Yeah, this is really remarkable comeback from Light. It's exactly the kind of vision I had for him being able to navigate into a win, and he's been able to execute it so far. D-Matrix preemptively going down on the front line, soaking up as much fire as possible so the other units can shuffle over and get into position. Some of these other tanks are much more clumped up on the left though, so Storms will have much more cost efficiency, but there's not enough units left in this meat of the Protoss infantry. Is drying up very quickly. The Zealot goons getting absolutely shredded by the tanks, not even in siege mode right now, just attack moving them down and bullying them away from the rally point.
Bisu supply dropping dangerously low, actually below where Light is at now, and he's starting to unsiege and just shove forward. He should definitely be able to deny the center right. Bisu not going to be able to hold on to that for sure as Light pushes in. Just a couple of tanks hitting that base, and they're going to max out at nearly the same time in this one. Like, Bisu's starting to get ahead a little bit, but Light's going to be right behind him.
This is a game that you should show to Terran players to help them understand how Terran actually works, because Light kind of did a clinic on showing you like most of your micro is done before the fight even like takes place. Having good like spread of tanks can really like make the difference. Like even if you are really in a bad spot, just a few preemptive things can really make enough to get you back into the game. And beautiful drills away from these drops then with good scouting. He's not really taking too much damage. These SCVs might take a lot of damage though. These ones are the bruised from before. They were already low HP, so even just like a few moments under the storm and get them killed instantly. So he is doing a lot of damage at the 6 o'clock base at least. Ooh, more and more damage coming out from the storm potential, and he can't really get his units up here to defend against this efficiently.
This might be the best chance that Bisu has.
Yeah.
He just killed a lot of SCVs, and he's dropped his overall supply
He's Wraiths
dangerously low.
Because he hasn't, he was cleaning up these drops efficiently when he had the Wraiths, but now that the Wraiths aren't a factor anymore, the drops are causing him such a headache because of how hard it is to get his units to flow around the map. He really, if anything, should have just remade some Wraiths.
Yeah, those Wraiths were doing such a fantastic job. Now more shuttles coming out. This little army over in the center right is going to be cleared. Light gonna set up in preparation for an attack into the natural, but where is Bisu gonna go with this army? Tanks are quite stacked up at the moment. He'll have to spread those as the fight is coming in. These tanks are way too stacked up. This is the opportunity that Bisu was looking for. EMP goes down, but it misses. Holy crap, so many kills on these Templar, annihilating the tank forces. Look at that. Supply just plummet as Bisu shoves forward. Oh my goodness.
This is just
just got dismantled.
This is such a great example of like the folly of Terran, man. It really does exemplifies the comeback potential of Terran, but also how quickly things can escalate out of control if your tanks are out of position just one time, saying if they're stacked and out of position one time, it's all over.
Yeah, that was beautifully done by Bisu, as well as a mistake from Light. Light just allowing those tanks to get stacked up as they were moving over to the right. I thought he was going to be there in time. I thought he had the moments as the army was being cleaned out in the center right. I thought he had time to spread everything, but it seems like he didn't.
No.
He had everything way too stacked, and he allowed it all to siege up. Light is getting completely overwhelmed now. It doesn't really matter that he has bottom left, because this army is in between the rallies and bottom left, and eventually as more shuttles come in, he'll be able to bomb up onto that high ground. Look at the supply differential.
No, it's crazy.
100.
It's more than double. It's absolutely insane. It's literally 250% more. It's absolutely wild stuff. It literally all stems from just having to like deal with that clumsy cleanup on those shuttles and storm drops. Like he just, without the Wraiths, he just really struggled to get that sorted out. And then by the time he finally did sort it out, the units had such a long journey getting back into position that he just got completely caught with his pants down.
Bisu gonna try to break into the bottom left. It's a last desperate stand for Light. He's getting everything up onto high grounds. He's trying to put his forces into a position where they can trade effectively against all of this coming in, but drops are going to be laid down. This is exactly what I was saying. As the shuttles come forward, he'll be ready to break the bottom left, and there's nothing that Light can do. All of his rallies are coming out of bottom right, and they're being completely crushed by the rallies of Bisu. He can't hit that critical mass to take a reasonable fight anymore. No. And this is it, Shun. I mean, we're going to have a Protoss victory.
This is
such
crazy,
a back and forth.
Crazy tug of war we've had this week, saying like the entire time, just back and forth, all the way to one champion left remaining for all three races. And then we finally have Light versus Bisu in the finale. And it looks like Light's going to die, and he somehow manages to secure a fourth and turn it into a base split, map split situation where he's looking like he might actually win. And then Bisu still ends up winning. Like, oh, fuck. It's crazy. The script writer's always working overtime for KCM, I tell you.
Crazy back and forth. I genuinely was sure that Bisu was going to win, and then I was completely sure that Light was going to win.
Yeah, right? How crazy is that?
Oh, man. What a twist. M. Night Shyamalan couldn't have done it better. Guys, we're going to jump to our score screen. Crazy final match. All right, I gotta pull it up. Where is it?
My mama said KCM was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Mate, you close your stream. Did you do that intentionally? You don't need it for score screen.
Shit. Just a second. Oops.
Oh, did you see that thing about Dragon Ball Z and like how pretty much all the characters' faces, like the main fighting characters, have like the same face with different hair? Have you seen that?
No.
Hang on, let me find it.
Sounds funny though.
Let me see if I can find it.
Nobody's gonna know.
Wait, I think this is it. Or at least it's one version of it. Where are you at? There you go. Watch that.
Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
It's funny.
How would they know?
How would they know?
A TN.
Nobody-
A TN is just no hair with an eye. The character customization for the DBZ characters is just a hair slider, and one of the options is instead of hair, it's just an eye. It's fucking amazing, dude.
That is funny.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Oh, some funny shit. It's like when the limitations of like 90s animation get brought to the surface a bit.
I don't know if that's the limitations
If
of
anything-
the animation. I feel like it's the drawing, like the laziness of
That's what I mean though, because they haven't got it all. They haven't got any like computerized assistance in animation or anything. They got to do everything all analog. Like they want to take as many shortcuts and creative liberties as possible. Right.
right. Okay. Shall we talk?
Well, I thought we were already talking, but we can keep talking now.
Taking a look at the point rankings, the kind of low chance, the low probability outcome that we were talking about last week has started to happen. Protoss got a win with Zerg getting last place. So on the upward trajectory, it's possible if everything happens the same again.
Right.
In next week, we could have a tie. We've never had a tie before. I'm very curious to see what that would be like, but I'm afraid to even talk about it because every time I talk about it, it never happens.
Yeah, we did that before. We got to not do that. If it happens, it happens. We got to be very zen about it. Whatever will be, will be. But yeah, Terran going to be definitely relegated to having to wait for that semi-finals. But yeah, everything to play for with Protoss still. If they can get this win and somehow Zerg still takes the bottom place again, and I don't know, man. This could be crazy. We could have some crazy situation on our hands. I have no idea what will be planned for the tiebreaker situation. We'll have to wait and see if that does transpire. But yeah, I mean, I'm just super stoked for KCM in general. Like, it's always been a pleasure to both watch and cast these games. You never know quite what's going to happen in this event.
It's been so much fun this season. Looking forward to a great semifinal and final. Likely it'll be that PVT semifinals, but Zerg will be waiting for the finals. Pretty epic stuff. Definitely Zerg has been absolutely crushing it lately, not only in KCM, but in SSL as well. They have been showing up with some, of course, just looking at Soul Key alone is crazy. This guy is so freaking good.
Oh, he's a machine. No, it's unreal how good Soul Key is, and I think that's why he's so special, because he's confident playing from behind, and most people shouldn't be like that. Like, most people should be like a little bit uncomfortable playing like that, but he's like, no, I'm happy to play like that, and he just kind of like looks at the game differently. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost got like he's got different wiring going on neurologically, where his brain is not quite calibrated like ours, and he just sees things a little bit differently.
And he's so creative with his play as well. He's got a bit of that shine in him as well. He's so powerful when it comes to macro, like a hero or an action, but then at the same time, he has the game plans. Like, he's got the game knowledge and the understanding of a shine.
Yeah,
it's all coming together for him. He's doing so fantastic. His flash level Zerg. All we need is a flash level Protoss, and we will be in a real golden era of Brood War. It's just gonna be like the old days, like Flash Jadong Bisu in Caspa
it's
era.
crazy, and there's no like embellishment either. Like, Flash is literally probably going to be trying to qualify, and most likely will be able to at least get into the round of 24, maybe round of 16 in the next tournament as well. I doubt he'll be winning the thing. I doubt he'll be getting a high ranking finish, but I imagine he will be good enough to get through the qualifiers and probably get through 1 or 2 stages.
I pray to the gods that KCM and Flash can figure out their differences and talk things out. Get him into this tournament as well. That would be amazing.
That won't happen. At least not for years. Like, maybe 2-3 years, but I don't even see that happening. No, I don't think so.
Well,
something tells me no.
I pray that you're wrong.
I want to be
Anyways,
wrong.
Guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this week. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. Let us know which games you enjoyed the most. Leave a comment. Even if it's just a GG, it helps out with the algorithm. That's it.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys. All right. Nice suit.
Nice. Good calls, good games.
Yeah, that was fun. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, man. Got a good thing going on. Always a pleasure for KCM.
Absolutely. Oh.
It's nice to have something that's such a genuine highlight of my week. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Awesome. Always looking forward to Fridays.
Yeah, man.
Great way to start the weekend off. Got any plans for Halloween?
Probably not. I mean, I'll probably I'll be naturally in costume. You know what I mean? Like, I got a voice for radio and a face for it too.
I see. I think Mio and I are gonna head to Osaka for Halloween party. It should be fun.
That'd be dope. You going as like dressed as stuff? Were you going as...
Mio's got her costume set up, but mine never arrived in the mail, so I have to go and buy one. Yeah, it got returned because it couldn't be delivered or something.
Just go as a Scottish Krillin and walk on your knees.
Scottish Krillin.
Yeah. You could pull that back up.
Oh my god. Oh, you bastard. Damn. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Holy shit. That was just off the top of the head, eh?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, holy shit!
Yeah,
That was funny.
That was actually funnier than I thought it would be. Like, that just came off the top of my head, and after I said it, I was like, "Holy shit, that's funny!" Oh god.
Holy shit!
Oh, that's a good one.
That was a good one. I think I'll go down to Osaka a little early and just try to buy one from one of the department stores.
Yeah, yeah.
Grab some random. I don't really care. Just my wife is going to be Wonder Woman. It's a nice costume.
Do you know? What was it? I think it was Post that said to me that something like Osaka is like a good place to socialize in Japan because people are like a little bit less introverted there or something.
Yeah, for sure. For sure it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit better. People are a little bit more friendly.
Yeah.
That's where all the comedians in Japan come from.
Oh, that makes sense.
Pretty much.
It checks out.
Pretty much all the comedians are living in or from Osaka.
Yeah, you gotta have some extroversion balls on you to be a stand-up comedian. You know what I mean? Like, it's not an easy thing to do, to stand up in front of a crowd and tell jokes and shit.
Yeah. And people in Tokyo are just not like that.
Right. Yeah, if you're an introvert, standing up front in the crowd and saying anything doesn't seem natural.
No. All right. Do you got that Audacity recording?
Let me check. It's still rendering. It's like a high quality, so it does take like 5 or so minutes usually, depending how long the cast is.
Just checking to make sure you had it on the way.
Yeah, no, it's on the way. It's in the oven, baking away.
Yeah.
I'm already baked. I don't need to get baked anymore. I was tooting some lemon haze during the cast. By the way, I'm playing a game. You there?
Yeah.
I'm playing a Chinese game, and I think the devs abandoned it, but not for their usual reasons. Like, usually I think that devs abandon the games for like cash grab reasons, right? But I feel like this game got abandoned because of like CCP taking it down.
Really?
Yeah, because like it's really weird. Like they pulled down the game from Steam on like the first day of release on Steam. So they weren't doing a cash grab because they pulled the game. They could have made way more money. It doesn't make sense, right? Right. It makes more sense that they were trying to get silenced. And I think the reason why they were getting silenced was because in the game, they do a parallel to what life was like in China during CCP. Oh, sorry, during the pandemic in CCP. During coronavirus. They don't put much emphasis on the coronavirus in the game. There's a little bit of a hint towards it, but most of the game is just you trying to struggle to survive, to like pay off debts or whatever. But because the game is like showing you a parallel to what life was like in China at that time, I think they tried to silence the game devs and took the game down.
Yeah, if they think anything is like even remotely against the government, they'll just take it down.
Yeah. I had to like pirate the game to even get it. You can't even get the game on Steam anymore.
Yeah. Classic.
Yeah. It's a really fun game concept. I'm surprised they had to abandon it. Like, if they could have finished that, it'd be a fucking interesting game, man. It's a shame. And it wasn't even like the game was like obviously bashing China or anything. Do you know what I mean? It was just like drawing some parallels to like hard life, you know? Showing a hard way of living. I think there's too much propaganda in China with that sort of shit. It's all about optics. Can't look bad in any way.
Yeah.
Can't make the country look bad.
China's the communist utopia. What are you talking about? There's no struggle in China.
Yeah.
Paying off debts, what do you mean?
Oh, man.
Yeah, reality can't exist in the communist utopia.
Yeah. That's been pretty sad because, like, I'm sure the young people are more rebellious, but I can imagine like the older generations probably feel quite oppressed. They're just quiet about it.
Yeah. Well, they're getting louder more recently. Like
The younger Chinese generation seems to be a bit louder. Yeah.
they're like really getting frustrated. The unemployment rate is massive in China right now. Youth unemployment is huge. So they're not even reporting it anymore because it's too big. It's too much going on.
Right. Yeah, it does seem like a lot of the younger generation is like taking a stand to it. I think that you'll see that around the world, though. I think, you know, like America is kind of like eating itself a little bit now as well, politically and what have you. Like, I think you'll see a lot of countries struggling with that. Their own population kind of turning on them.
A little bit, yeah.
I think it's somewhat inevitable to happen on some scale. What's your take on that, Dustin? Oh, they claim they're going to stand up and then they go back to normal. You know, sometimes you just need to blow off steam. So it also depends on if there's a way for them to ventilate that frustration into something else, and then they would probably revolt back to normalization. But only if there's a way of blowing off that steam in another redirected way. Otherwise, they may reach a more authentic boiling point. Is it done? Yes. What's a Nova? It's nice having a good upload speed. I've got to change it to link access. There you go. There you are, Mon Squire.
All right.
No worries.
Nice.
I tuned down the microphone a tiny bit on Audacity. Not a lot, but like I toned it down to like 90% so it doesn't pop through too much. Seems to be at a decent level for recent recordings.
Yeah. All right, I think we're Gucci.
Yeah.
Just need to do this editing.
Nice.
Take long.
I might go and get something to eat.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna have lunch here in a minute too.
All right, buddy. Well, I hope you have a lovely day.
Two men.
It was good casting.
Bye, chat.
Yeah.
Bye, chat.
Goodbye, chat. Dustin, Everett, Polly, whoever else. Take it easy. Catch you on the flippity flip.
See you guys.
Yeah, Dustin says, good work, boys. May the Zerg swarm rule all or something. Peace.